A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. Now for Jerry of the Circus.
Better watch out. We better watch out. We better watch out.
Well, say, what are you saying, Jerry? Or is that a song?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking.
What about?
About Hansburg.
Oh, you ever been in Hansburg before?
No.
Well, you want to talk about it, or is it a secret?
No, of course not. It's about Spike.
Oh.
I've kind of been wanting to tell you.
Well, go ahead. I'm not sleepy anyhow tonight.
Me neither. Gee, all the excitement of seeing Mr. Bradley off on the airplane and then this ring and all.
Pretty nice of Johnny to give you that dragon ring of his. He was always sort of superstitious about that ring.
Yeah, I know. Said it brought him luck in the theater.
I think he really wants to pass that luck on to you.
Guess I'll be kind of needing it.
What makes you say that, Jerry?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking.
Come on now, Jerry. You better get it off your chest, even if it is most morning.
Guess it is late at that. That was kind of a slow lot tonight. Thought we never would get loaded.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky so far this season, except that flooded area we came through. That's one thing. Randall always gets us there. Well, come on now. What's worrying you, Jerry?
Well, I'm not exactly worried. But, you know, I told you about Spike not being really guilty.
Or at least he says he was framed on that robbery charge.
Yeah, and I believe him, too. You see, it all happened in Hansburg.
Oh, I see. Now, don't tell me you're planning to do a little detective work again.
That's exactly it. The only man who really ought to be able to help is the station master. His name is Platt.
Why didn't he help at the trial?
Well, I guess he did testify Spike was working around that time, but of course he couldn't prove he was. No one could really, except the real robber.
Well, Spike got any ideas on the subject?
No, that's the worst of it. And I don't want to go right up and ask Mr. Platt. No, I think I'll just hang around and maybe I can find something out.
Now, listen, Jerry. Men who are smart enough to rob Uncle Sam's mail and get away with it are likely to be too dangerous to fool with.
Well, you can't let an innocent man stay in jail. Spike was going to try and find out things for himself. That's why he escaped. But now that he can't, I'm going to at least try and see if I can't find a clue.
Yeah, you better let me in on anything you do, Jerry. I wouldn't want you to stumble onto something, not have someone know what you're doing.
Oh, don't you worry. I got this lucky ring. Guess that'll see me through. Say, this must be quite a grate here. See how slow we're going. Golly, it's as dark as pitch out. No moon or nothing.
Well, it won't be long or dark long now. Oh, say, Jerry, this is terrible. It's most 3 o'clock. Say, we better turn in.
Okay. He wasn't it exciting seeing Mr. Bradley off?
Yes, it sure was.
I'll bet he's plenty happy about seeing his son and all. And then when he threw that package out of the plane, honest, I was so surprised.
He was probably afraid you wouldn't accept the ring if he gave it to you, because you knew how much he thought of it.
Yeah, that's it, all right. He offered it to me before, and I wouldn't keep it. But I guess he really wants me to have it. In his note, he said he didn't need any more luck now that he's going to be with his son and his wife.
Oh, say, Jerry, you're wound up just like an alarm clock. Come on now and get into bed. We'll have to be up early in the morning.
Yeah, I know. Say, Bumps, look.
Not now. No, I'm heading for bed.
Yeah, but look. That light up there.
Huh? Yeah, that's funny. There did seem to be a light up there. Well, it's gone now.
That's because we're turning all these curves. Say, this must be a bad grade.
Oh, probably someone burning something up there at some farmhouse.
Funny time of night for a fire.
Hey there, everybody up. There's a fire up ahead there on one of the flat cars.
Gee, Bumps.
Hey, all hands up. We may be needing plenty of help soon.
Why aren't we stopping, Whitey?
Well, we can't stop on this grade. If we tried uncoupling any of the coaches, well, they'd start down that hill back there. And it'd end up in a heap of tangled steel at the bottom.
Well, what are you going to do?
Well, we'll have to get to the top of this grade first, Jerry. Then we'll have to figure out our next move.
Well, anything I can do, Whitey?
Yeah, run on through the cars ahead and wake up all the folks. See that they're all dressed and out so as they can help as soon as this train gets to level ground.
I sure will. I'll be right back as soon as I wake them up.
What car's on fire?
It's the props and wardrobe wagon. There's a stiff breeze blowing, and those flames are heading back for the horse cars.
How many cars back of the one that's on fire?
About 7, I think.
Well, how they loaded?
Well, all the baggage stock are directly back of the fire, and the ring horses are in the next cars.
We can't have a circus without horses.
We won't have to. We'll save those horses.
I hope you're right, Bunce, but that blaze back there's getting fanned to fever heat.
How long before we get up this hill?
Seems like we're getting on the level now.
Look at the sparks fly out that window.
I called all the folks in the cars ahead. They're getting up, Whitey.
Looks like we've reached the top. You see, we're gathering momentum.
Well, we'd better get there soon if we're going to save any of the horses.
But isn't there something we can do?
No, not a thing. There's no way of getting past that car that's on fire. We don't dare open the door into it for fear the current of air will fan the fire and make it worse.
Oh, that's fierce. We just got to get Splendor and the rest of them out in time. See, Whitey, they don't know what's happened. They'll be scared to death.
Now, steady, Jetty. Jerry, my boy, we're going to need all the help we can get just as soon as this train stops.
Well, how could it have happened?
A spark must have got into the car some way from the smokestack and somehow ignited something.
Well, we can't just stand here and not do anything.
Oh, no, Jerry. Now, take it easy, boy. You know you always kept your head before when we've been in danger.
Yeah, but we could do something then. Now we're just waiting. For what?
We're stopping.
Gee whiz, we're slowing down.
Sandy said for one of us to get out there on the north side of the train. He'll be out there as soon as we stop to take charge.
Oh, there's nothing worse for a circus than a fire.
Now, come on, folks. We're stopping. Remember, wait for your orders and keep cool. There's no danger for us, but we've got to save those horses.
You bet we do.
And take it easy, folks.
Hey, it sure is blazing. Hey, we got any water?
Oh, out in the middle of nowhere. Dark as pitch. Doesn't look like there's water or anything else.
Yeah, it's dark, all right.
Here comes Sandy with a brakeman and some lanterns.
Well, from the looks of things, we're going to have plenty of light. Firelight.
All right, men. I'm afraid we'll have to uncouple that car and then try to get the fire out. Can't leave it close to them horse cars, not with those sparks that fly.
And you'll have to hurry or it'll be too late.
It is too late. Gee, look, the car at the baggage stock is on fire.
Hey, the horse cars. Come on,
Hey,
get
come on.
Hey, quick, we got to get that fire out. Sandy, take your men and then couple the cars. I'll try and lead the horses out of the cars that are on fire. Now, come on, Jerry. You know these horses.
You bet I'm a-coming. Hey, it's awful hot close to these cars.
Sounds like the stampede.
One of you men get any rags or anything you can. We may have trouble leading these horses out and need some blinders for them.
Yeah. Thank goodness this door's on the other side, away from the fire.
Help me open up this car.
Right with you, boss. Here. I can manage these two horses.
Lead them over that clump of trees and tie them up there till the excitement's over.
Okay, Whitey. Lucky these horses are loaded on the cars with their halters on.
Yeah, I'll take these, Whitey. How many in this car?
27 head. All right, men, take two at a time and follow Jerry and Bunce there. They'll show you where to tie them up.
Come on. They're scared to death.
It's lucky it's the baggage stock instead of the high school horses.
Yeah, those high school horses are lots jumpier. Golly, I'm sure glad Splendor's not in this car.
I've often felt sorry for these poor nags traveling all night with their halters and things on them, but I must say at a time like this, it's lucky for them they do travel in harness.
Yeah?
Oh, here, I guess this is the clump of trees Whitey wants us to tie them up to.
Yeah. Come on. Take it easy there. Come on.
Hey, Jerry, help me with this nag, will you? You got yours tied up all right.
Well, now, Maud. Kind of nervous, huh?
She certainly knows your voice. Do you know all the names?
Oh, pretty near. Yes, they are.
Come on, Prince.
Water
Come
and
on,
day
boy.
and night.
Oh, that's right, fellas. Tie up right here. Jerry and I'll go back for another load.
See, that's getting to be quite a blaze in the horse car. See, Whitey and some of the men are fighting with blankets.
It's funny they haven't got those cars uncoupled yet.
Right. We better hurry.
One of you run up there, engineer, and have them back up just a little. This pin is jammed. We can't get it loose.
I'll go, Sandy.
Did you hear that, Bumps? Golly, I was afraid something was wrong.
It's sure going to be tough working tomorrow with a car of props and costumes going up in smoke.
Maybe they can save some of them.
Not if they don't get that blaze out pretty soon.
Whitey, what'll I do next?
Here, help me on with these last horses.
The fire's sure getting hot. Come on, Jessie, old girl. You'll be all right. Sure, you don't think Whitey'd let anything happen to you, do you?
I'll take those, Whitey. You better get that blaze under control. Sounds like there's a wind coming up.
No, that'll be the last straw.
Say, looks like we are in for a blow.
Look out, everyone. They're going to bag those cars off.
Bad business in this wind. Look at the way the flames are blowing back over those horse cars. One spark and the whole lot will be going next.
It seems like we no sooner save a couple of them than the rest are in danger.
Now, listen, you guys. Take those blankets back to the sleeping cars and get them soaking wet. We'll put them on top of the hottest horse cars. Get going.
Okay, boss.
Give me a couple of blankets. I can run pretty fast.
All right, here you are, Jerry. And get back, quick.
Watch out. They're backing her up.
This blame thing's jammed, Sandy. What do we do?
We got to get that pin out or we can't uncouple those cars.
I'll bet the blacksmith might have something that'll knock that thing through.
Come on, see if you can dig them out. And one of you men go on up to the engineer and see if he's got something we can use.
We'll be burning our tracks if we don't get this coupling loose. Listen to that wind.
Here are the blankets.
All right, crawl up on that car and spread them out, can you?
Yeah, of course I can. Watch me. Whew. Say, these cars are hot.
I'll say they are. Now, come on, men. Hand Jerry those blankets and give him a hand. Here you are, kid. Hey, Sandy, had any luck yet uncoupling those cars?
Oh, you want it? No, the blame thing's a jam.
Yeah, we certainly seem to be out of luck tonight.
Here you are, Sandy. I got a sledgehammer for you.
Okay. Man, get this thing working.
Okay, Sandy.
Throw me some more blankets,
No,
Frank.
there aren't any more. That's all we got.
Doggone this pit. And now look out there. Looks like we can break through it now. We got it. There she goes.
Oh, thank heavens it's loose.
Tell them to push those horse cars away. Back up about 10 feet.
Tell the engineer to back up 10 feet.
Back up 10 feet. Now we'll get the other side loose. As soon as they push these rear cars far enough back so they won't catch fire. Whoa there, that does it.
Hey, don't forget there's a grate back there. Don't let those cars get pushed too far back.
No, don't worry. We got them. Got to get them out of reach of those sparks.
They've got it. That black car's loose at last.
All hands stand by and help beat out these flames. But send word up to the engineer to pull the front cars ahead.
Okay, Sandy.
I got some branches from the trees to help beat out the flames.
That's a ticket. Grab sticks, anything. Get on the east side of the fire. The wind's coming from the east.
They tipped the black car over. Quick before those sparks get into the brush.
Hey, it looks like they got it under control.
Wonder if any of the costumes are left.
Hey, Sandy, looks like those rear cars are moving.
They are. They're starting down the grade.
Well, I got to get aboard those cars. Where's the brakeman?
I'll help too.
Jerry, come back. Get off those cars. They're headed down the grade.
Jerry, Sandy. Say, Bunce, they're both on that car.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Philip Marlowe, the famous private detective of Murder My Sweet and The Lady in the Lake, created by Raymond Chandler, brought to you on the air by Pepsodent, and starring MGM's dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. It's preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is the favorite 3-to-1.
Families from coast to coast recently compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. They preferred new Pepsodent by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other brand they tried. These families, 3-to-1, said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Yes, families 3-to-1 say new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Get new Pepsodent toothpaste for your family right away. Now, Van Heflin in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe.
Hollywood after midnight is like any other city after midnight. Night moves in and the city becomes hushed and stealthy. The nightclubs close up one by one, but now and then the police whistle and the prowl car siren serenade the sleeper. If you've got any cop in you at all, you get on edge and you have to get dressed and go out and walk it off to relax. Well, I was relaxing past the Swank Carlton Hotel on the Sunset Strip about 1 a.m. when all of a sudden, recess was over.
Hey, Marlowe.
Hmm?
That you, Marlowe?
It was George Millar, the quiet-spoken night clerk of the Carlton, hailing me from the doorway, probably to Mucho Melacrino. No, I was wrong.
Hey, look, Marlowe. You very busy right now?
Why, Millar? If I may be as cagey as all that.
We've got some trouble on the 8th floor.
Where's Curly, your fearless house dick?
Tonight he has to have a hangover.
What's the beef on floor 8?
King Leopardi. Do you know him?
King Leopardi? Oh, that's the sweetest trump this side of Gabriel. Is he tenting here tonight?
He's in the corridor on the 8th floor, dressed in yellow pajamas, and he's trumpet. There's a girl with him, and they're putting on a jam session.
Well, suppose the king rejects my diplomatic notes.
Well, get rough, but only if you have to.
Okay, thanks. But a guy with such an ear for music ought to listen to reason. All right, I'll be down 5 minutes more. That's all, boys.
Oh, stop, mellow, king and yellow. More, Schmozzarino, more.
I said, all right, King, the party's over. Hey!
Were you addressing me, peasant?
I said, wrap it up, can it? Put it on ice. The show is over.
Ha!
Conk him, King. King Kong, that's what he is, King Kong. Let him have it, King.
Fanfare to a nosy house dick, as follows.
All right, now look, Yellow Pants, wrap up your bugle and buzz off. Now hit the grip.
Oh, you're tougher than a 40-cent steak, aren't you? Well, this'll make you soft and tender. Here.
Attaboy, King. Hit him again for me.
All right, hit me with that trumpet, will you? Okay, King. Now, come on, get up, get dressed, and get out.
How can he? He's out cold.
I'll be glad to pack for him. And you get back to your room, too.
Listen, Copper, I don't have to do
Get
anything.
going, sister. Come on, jump. The door to room 815 was ajar. I went in and began tossing a lot of that yellow silk that the king liked so well into his suitcases. Something at the small desk stopped me. Tucked under the corner of the desk blotter was a note. It was assembled from words and letters cut out of newspapers and pasted on a telegraph blank. It said, 10 grand by Thursday night, Leopardi, or else. Her brother. I slipped the note in my pocket and went out in the corridor just as the king staggered past me into his room. I could get an infection from the dirty look he gave me as he slammed the door after him. The door 2 suites away opened a crack and then shut again very quickly. I went over and knocked.
Beat it, copper!
I want to talk to you.
I don't want to hear from you.
Okay, here I come, sister. Ready or not?
I'll blow you down, so help me, I'll let you have it.
Lay that pistol down, babe. Come on,
Get out
come
before
on.
you picked up weight you didn't count on.
And what would the little girl be doing with a .25 automatic, I wonder?
A girl needs protection with insects like you around.
Look, what's your name?
Little Bo Peep.
Okay, but what does little boy Blue with a horn mean to you?
I admire his work.
Do you know King Leopardi?
No.
Well, what are you doing in a place like this? I can tell you can't afford it. What's your angle?
I won a soap contest.
All right, baby. You want it that way?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to make a phone call. It won't cost you a nickel. Hello, desk. Millar? It's Marlowe. I'm calling for the lady in room 811. She's checking out. I had a little trouble up there, Millar. Your 2 noisy guests will be checking out any minute. Okay?
Oh, well, I hate for things to happen on my shift.
Well, the king balked me with his bugle, and the girl had a gun.
Gee, nice people.
How come you put a floozy like that girl so close to the king?
Well, I didn't.
Another
Quillen,
thing.
the day man did.
Look, there was a receipt for rent to Miss Marilyn Delorme on the telephone table in her room.
Well, that wasn't the name she gave Quillen.
Apartment 211, Ridgeland Apartments, Cord Street, L.A. She lives right in town in a cheap neighborhood, but she checks in here at a price she can't afford and gives a phony name. Now, why? Why? Cord Street, where Marilyn Delorme lived, was Old Town, Arty Town, Crook Town. It was afternoon when I got off the cogwheel car that climbs the steep hill to where the Ridgeland apartment sat on the top of Bunker Hill. I went up dim, dusty stairs to apartment 211, and I tapped on the door. There was no answer, so I tried the door. It was unlocked. The room inside was dim with stagnant gloom. Marilyn Delorme was in. I didn't talk to her, though. I didn't think she'd want to make much conversation with those blue bruises about her throat, where she'd been strangled. I got out of there fast, wiping off doorknobs like Uriah Heep polishing apples for his boss. I found King Leopardi at his job at the Club Belvedere. He was relaxing at a table in the bar with a kind of a girl commonly referred to as a knockout. She looked tall, and her hair was the color of a brush fire seen through clouds of dust. I pulled in my chin and then walked over to the table. Hello, Leopardi, maestro. You remember me?
I'm sorry, I can't say that. Why, you dirty keyhole snooper.
King, please don't start anything
You
again.
left a certain little note in your hotel room last night.
Yeah, dime a dozen.
That wasn't all. That dame with you
I
last
said
night.
beat it.
King, sit down.
Beat it and take this with you.
There's not much snap in that punch, King. Would you like to try it again?
I have had some drinks. I'll see you later when I'm okay. See you later, too, Dolores, after the floor show.
I'm sorry, Miss...
Sit down. You made us conspicuous enough as it is.
Now, wait a minute.
Sit
Look,
down.
All right, thanks. Well, that's what I get for being a little gentleman and letting him pepper me without a comeback.
No, he's always spoiling for a fight.
The king just can't control these dukes, can he?
You better have a drink.
All right. Coke with bitters.
That's what I love about Hollywood. You meet so many eccentrics.
Yeah, but you see, I'm the kind of a guy who starts with a short beer and wakes up in Shanghai with a full beard. Is this on me or is it on you?
Well, that depends.
Well, how's champagne? Mum's cordon rouge, shall we say, huh?
It's on you.
It's on me. Coke with bitters.
How did you get to know King Leopardi?
Oh, I just happened to throw him out of his hotel last night.
Oh, house detective, huh?
No. Filling in for a friend. Philip Marlowe, private investigator, is the general tag.
Oh.
How did you happen to get to know the king?
I once sang in his band, but not for long.
Well, then, look, tell me, would it be hard for a woman to get to him?
Only if he was surrounded by a wall of fire.
If the woman had a gun?
Why?
Well, I found this threat note on his desk last night. It asked for $10,000 or else, and it's signed her brother.
Well?
Well?
Yes. A woman with a gun could get to him, and everybody would give her a great big hand.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll skip that Coke and bitters and say good day and thank you, Christabel.
The name is Dolores.
Oh, good afternoon, Miss Drury.
Chiozza. Dolores Chiozza.
Oh, Chiozza. Fare thee well, Miss Chiozza.
Formal, aren't you?
So long, Dolores.
So long, Philip. If I hear of anything, I'll toss it your way.
The evening papers carried a squib about Marilyn Delorme found strangled in her Cord Street apartment. That was all, dead end. Until about 1 o'clock in the morning when the telephone started having hysterics on my night table.
Yeah.
Philip, this is Dolores.
Dolores? Dolores? Oh, yeah, sure.
Would you come over to my place right away? 2412 Renfrew Street, below Fountain.
Hey, wait a minute.
It's a sort of bungalow court. Mine is the last one in line.
Well, sure, but wait a minute. What's the matter? Dolores, look, what's the matter?
King Leopardi is here, too.
King Leopardi?
He passed out in my den. It's absurd, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absurd. It'll cost you $20.
All right, but hurry. Please hurry.
All right, I'll be right over. Phone calls in the dead of night. I should have been a midwife.
Oh, come in, Philip. I'm sorry I woke you at this hour.
That's okay. I always get up around this time anyhow to take my bitters and answer phone calls. Where is he?
May I have a cigarette?
Sure.
Thanks.
Right. Where did you say he was now?
In my den. Oh, Philip. Philip, he isn't drunk at all. Did you really think he was drunk? He's dead.
What?
The king is dead. Long live the... With my gun.
Well, good for you. The lady wins the large Cupid dog. Hey, come on, let's go and look at him.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. It's preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. Families all over America say new Pepsodent is their favorite 3-to-1.
The Paul A. Thompson family, Summer Street, Stamford, Connecticut, preferred new Pepsodent on every single count. The Thompsons say new Pepsodent tastes best of all, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter. On all these counts, by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1, families prefer new Pepsodent over any other toothpaste they tried.
It's a fact. Families 3-to-1 say new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter.
Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Thompsons and other families who compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. Get new Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing Irium. Get it for your family without delay. We continue with The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of The Huckster, starring Clark Gable.
Dolores showed me to the den in the back of the house. Trumpet man King Leopardi was lying on the studio couch, large, smooth, and artificial looking even in death. A small Mauser automatic hung loosely in his right hand. There was a bullet hole in his golden yellow sport coat, right over his heart. Dolores, is this your gun?
Yes. Someone gave it to me once. I don't even know how to use it.
Oh, no.
I don't expect you or anyone to believe me.
Don't expect anything. Just tell it.
Well, I was out late. I sing at KFQC on a late 15-minute program. Agatha and I got home about 11:30.
Who's Agatha, the cat?
My maid. I came into the den for some liquor and fizz water and found him. Like that. I sent Agatha home so she wouldn't find him. Finally, I thought of calling you.
Well, he got in here. How?
I don't know.
Were you ever in love with him?
The king never loved anyone.
I asked if you loved him.
I hated everything about him.
It's even better to tell the cops that is but copacetic.
But I can't help it. It's the truth.
Dolores, look. Go on out in the other room and buy yourself a drink. I want to be alone here with tall, dead, and handsome. Go on now, huh? After Dolores had taken her white face out of that room, I could work better. I went through the king's pocket and found his key ring. One key fit very nicely in the lock of the back door. I went into the living room where Dolores was huddled against the arm of the Davenport trying to become a part of the pattern. Dolores, how long has Agatha been with you?
2 years.
Did she ever steal anything from you?
Small things, that's all. There are nylons now and then. I didn't mind why.
Well, she sold a key to somebody. A key to this apartment.
Oh, what's the difference, Philip? We're wasting time. I'm done for as a nice person. They'll think it was a lover's quarrel and I shot him. Or that he shot himself over me.
Well, you don't die from the latter, though.
Your reputation does. And I care about what people think of me.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes me for you again, lady.
Thanks, Philip.
Now, look, suppose you give me a description of Agatha and tell me where she lives. I want to talk to her. Tonight. I drove down Brighton Avenue looking for the house Dolores had described to me. All at once, I slammed on my brakes. In the driveway of a vacant house stood a small coupe. Dolores had described Agatha's car, and that was it. And Agatha did not live in an empty house. Well, I got out and walked up the gravel driveway and looked into the car. And then I got back in my own car and drove until I found an all-night drugstore. I phoned Detective Lieutenant Ibarra. Hello, Ibarra. Write this down. Brighton Avenue, 3200 block, west side. Driveway of empty house. Car parked with dead woman in it. When alive, answered to the name of Agatha. Strangled. I went back to the Carlton Hotel where it all started the night before. Quillen, the head day clerk, was on night duty. That surprised me a little bit. It was 2 a.m. and very empty, very quiet in the lobby. That was fine.
Well, if it isn't Marlowe, the old clues man. A good morning, and tripe like that.
Hello, Quillen. Look, how come you're on duty?
Millar went on vacation this a.m. His brother has a cabin at Crestline on the Arrowhead Road.
Oh, I didn't even know he had a brother.
Now you know.
Quillen, look, how come an old hotel man like you registers floozies like that Marilyn Delorme on the same floor with people like King Leopardi?
What?
You heard me, mine host.
I didn't register the girl or Leopardi. Millar did.
What?
You heard me.
Well, why was the room between their rooms empty last night in times like these?
Millar had it marked on change.
Plumbing out of whack or something. Why?
Oh. Well, here's why. A lad with a pass key could have gone into that room and then unlocked the two connecting doors. And then you could have run a bus service between the girls' room and Leopardi's.
What are you driving at?
That girl in 811 had a gun and Leopardi had a threat letter last night. Now, here's what I want you to do. Call the hotel where Leopardi's staying now and ask if he's there.
Why?
Because. Good enough?
Best reason in the world. Wife always uses it. Wait here.
In about 3 minutes, Quillen came back and leaned on the counter again.
Leopardi isn't there. I talked to a guy in his suite who was almost sober. He said Leopardi got a call about 11 from some girl.
What girl?
Well, he didn't know. But Leopardi went out preening himself.
Okay, thanks, Quillen.
Anything to do with that brawl you had with Leopardi here last night?
No, all in the spirit of boyish mayhem.
Oh. That 815 has a jinx on it, you know. Girl shot herself there 2 years ago.
What?
The girl shot herself there.
Yeah, you said that, but what girl?
I don't know what her real name was.
Look here, Quillen. I want to see your hotel files of that day 2 years ago and all the newspaper clippings about it. Come on.
All right. Let go of my arm, physical culture. I'll get the keys to the record room.
I read the hotel files of that day 2 years ago, and I read the newspaper clippings of that suicide in 815. Then I asked Quillen just where George Millar's brother had his cabin in the mountains. It was just getting light when I pulled up at the cabin, high against a growth of dagger pine and cedar. Smoke was curling from the chimney. Someone was awake. George Millar himself opened the door.
Well, Marlowe. Well, gee, it's good to see you. How'd you ever find us up here? How about some bacon and eggs?
The answer in my brief Marlowe morning manner is yes.
Oh, that's swell. I'll wake up my brother and we'll all eat together, huh?
You don't have to wake me up. I'm up.
Oh, hello, Garrett.
Who's your friend, George?
Gaff, this is Philip Marlowe. You've heard me talk of him.
How are you, Marlowe?
Gaff Talley. That the name?
Yeah, my brother. That's his fighting name. He used to be a heavyweight boxer.
Fighter. Boxers dance. Fighters fight.
Let's get coffee started, huh? Marlowe's hungry.
Say, I've had a busy night. King Leopardi's been bumped off.
Bumped off?
Lowbrow killed. Vernacular for murder. The king is dead.
Where? How?
In a girl's apartment. Nice girl, too. The old suicide gag. But it could ruin the girl.
Oh, gee, that's lousy.
Yeah, but it won't work. It was murder.
What makes you think it was murder?
Well, Gaff, the way I cased the job, the kill was supposed to have been pulled in his room 815 at the Carlton Hotel night before last.
Is that a fact now?
Yeah. I spoiled it by giving the king the merry heave-ho before the girl in 811 could get to him. Didn't I, George?
I guess you did, Marlowe.
Yeah. Of course, it would have been poetic justice if King Leopardi had been killed in the same room where a girl committed suicide 2 years ago, registered as Mary Smith. Usual name, Eve Talley. Did you hear that, Gaff Talley? Eve Talley.
I heard it, Marlowe. So we had a sister named Eve, shot herself in 815 at the Carlton. So what?
So, George here told me that Quillen registered that professional gun girl in 815 night before last. Oh, no. George registered her. So George kept the room between the girl and Leopardi vacant. When everything was quiet, he'd open the communicating doors, and Marilyn Delorme would walk into the king's room, muffle her .25 in a pillow, and shoot the king in his sleep. How am I doing, boys?
Fine, Marlowe. How am I doing?
Gaff, put away that gun.
I'll bet you even checked on 118 Cord Street.
I found Marilyn Delorme strangled. She knew too much. For a few bucks, you boys got Agatha to call Leopardi last night from the radio station, pretend she was Dolores, with an interesting invitation. The king always had a yen for Dolores, and he came running. You shot the king before Dolores came home and left him in her den. Then Gaff got rid of Agatha. She knew too much, too.
Leopardi was the worst kind of a rat, Marlowe. We loved our sister. She fell for him, and he threw her out. She killed herself. Now, what would you do, Marlowe?
Take his gun, George. Don't get between us or behind him. This .45 goes right on through.
have to take your gun, Marlowe.
Well, always treat it like your own, won't you, George?
Got it, George?
I've got it.
Stand out of the way.
Does it have to be this way, Gaff?
Yeah, it has to be this way.
Sure, George and Gaff, the avengers of innocent girlhood in their righteous indignation.
Shut up, Marlowe.
Lynch mobs, tar and feather merchants, and other laws unto themselves take notice. George and Gaff, they wrote the book.
Say your prayers, Big Mouth.
Gaff, there's been enough killing.
Get out of
No,
the way.
Gaff, I won't.
I swear I'll let you have
No,
it, too.
Gaff!
I'm warning you.
Goodbye, Gaff. I'm sorry, Gaff. I had to do it.
George, he's dead.
Listen, I had to do it, Gaff. I just had to. You understand, don't you, Marlowe?
Yeah, I understand.
He was a killer. He killed 3 people. He wasn't going to kill a 4th. I wanted to finish Leopardo out in the open and take what came, but Gaff tried to do it cute. I didn't know Leopardo was dead until you told me, Marlowe.
I believe you, George.
Yeah. Here's your gun back, Marlowe. It shoots fine.
I put in a big pitch for George at headquarters. After all, he hadn't killed anybody except Gaff, and that was in self-defense and in defense of an unofficial copper named Marlowe. He won't get off scot-free, but he won't inhale cyanide either at the taxpayer's expense. After I talked to Ibarra at headquarters, I telephoned Dolores Quiosa. I didn't give her the sordid details, but just told her not to worry, that she was in the clear.
Philip. Oh, thank you, Philip. I'm so relieved. I'm so grateful.
I'm so thirsty.
Well, come on over then.
Hey, wait a minute. Now, is this fiesta on you or is it on me?
Why?
Well, I mean, do I drink Coke and bitters or Cordon Rouge?
It's on me.
All right, then champagne it is, baby. But look, let me bring the glasses, huh?
You have just heard Van Heflin, starring in the new mystery series, Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Van Heflin will return in just a moment.
Men, here's an important announcement. News about a sensational hair tonic discovery. It's Trim Hair Tonic, made by Pepsodent. For the first time, science has created a hair tonic with pure virgin olive oil. There's no finer hair and scalp conditioner. Yes, because it contains pure virgin olive oil, Trim Hair Tonic conditions your scalp as it grooms your hair. Get new Trim Hair Tonic during the big 1-cent introductory sale at toilet goods counters now. 2 60-cent bottles, $1.20 value, only 61 cents. Ask for Trim Hair Tonic with olive oil.
Now, concerning next week's show, here is our star, Van Heflin.
Philip Marlowe crouched in the darkness of Beverly Glen and waited for those footsteps to come closer. And then all at once, the Sandman hit him without bothering to remove the sand from the sandbag. And when Marlowe woke up in the morning, his wallet and his gun were gone. And he was wanted for murder.
Tonight's story was adapted by Milton Geiger from The King in Yellow by Raymond Chandler, creator of Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective. The original music was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. This is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at the same time to another exciting mystery on the adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with a distinguished cast.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Washington calling Counterspy. Washington calling Counterspy. Washington calling Counterspy.
Counterspy, calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
Phillips H. Lord, Counterspy. The Blue Network is proud to present Phillips H. Lord, Counterspy, a dramatization packed with thrills and adventure. The fascinating portrayal of undercover agents working against enemy spies within our borders. All over this great country tonight is an invisible army of men and women highly trained to protect us from professional enemy spies within our borders. Imagine chief counterspy of them all as David Harding. In Pittsburgh, Henry Hughes, cultured, well-educated, and sophisticated, entered his hotel suite on the 7th floor. Seated before a dressing table in the bedroom was his most attractive wife.
Hello, Laura. Fixing up a little?
You're late, Henry.
Oh, some matters down at the office. Guess I'll send for a drink. Want one?
Already had one.
Oh, having a drink alone, eh? Perhaps you weren't alone.
You swine! You insinuating pig! You come in with a saintly way you have it. I know where you've been. At the office. Yes, the office. With lipstick all over your collar night after night. Coming in thinking I don't know. You think I'm a fool?
Stop it, you little pagan.
Pagan! I gave up everything to you. Decent family, money, position, honor. I followed you every place you've gone for 10 years. You scam, you fake traitor!
What's that, Laura?
No, I can't cry. I can't even do that anymore. Oh, why do I love you so?
Now listen, kid. You've been great. Sure, I've been seeing someone else. But you know it's business. Now, as soon as I get all the information I'm after, we can leave this country. We'll be rich the rest of our lives. Now, I can't tell you the things I'm doing. I'm not allowed to. The Gestapo would kill me. But they've promised that if I make good on this job, it means a big job over there. We'll get out of this country.
But this is my country, Henry. Can't you see what I've been through for years? Loving you. Ready to die for you. But cheating all the time on my country.
Which means more to you? Your country? Or me?
You.
There. That sounds more natural. Well, all right. I've got to go out for a while tonight. Now, you go to a movie or something. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Where are you going?
I've got to drive over the mountain to Connersville. It's about 90 miles.
You lie. You're lying like you always do. You're going with her. You're letting me down. I can see it in your eyes. Well, you can't. You won't.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, come along. I'll prove it to you.
You mean you want me to go with you?
Yes, I'll prove to you that it's business. We'll have some drinks, drive over, and make a good time of it.
You mean it, Henry?
I'd rather have you with me than anyone else.
Oh, I'm such a fool. But I do love you so.
Here's the bottle, Laura. Have yourself another drink.
Oh, it's so beautiful tonight. Look, Henry, you can see for miles.
Sure. We're about 4,000 feet up. Look. Look how those cliffs drop right down from the side of the road.
What's the matter?
Oh, I thought I'd turn and drive right up to the edge. We can sit for a few minutes and look out at the view.
Henry, the front wheels are right on the edge, both of them.
Of course. See how I can handle a car? I didn't have a drink like you did.
It's exciting.
Have another drink.
All right, but I'm dizzy now.
Here. Lean on my shoulder.
Henry, I'm sorry. Oh, Chris.
What's the matter?
It's all right now, but something stuck in my arm like a needle.
Oh, perhaps there was a pin or something in the cushion.
Oh, it felt like a... Henry.
Yes?
What stuck into me? What was it?
Why, how should I know?
You do know. It was you. You've done it. There was a hypodermic needle. You poisoned me. You had...
You're getting too dangerous to have around, you and your jealous streak.
Help!
Hold your head off. Nobody will ever hear you up here. You're going over the cliff.
They'll get you for this. They'll get you for murder.
Oh, no. The injection was just enough to make you unconscious. When I find your body, it will have bled naturally. An accident, your stomach full of liquor.
Henry!
Now. Emergency brake. Happy journey, my dear. Now to get the front wheels over. Now the back wheels over.
Counterspy headquarters, Washington.
Harding speaking.
J7, Pittsburgh. I think you should fly here immediately, Mr. Harding.
What's your report?
Very attractive wife of a Henry Hughes. Drove car while intoxicated off mountain cliff. Henry Hughes holds a rather important position in the Pittsburgh Bronze Casting Company, which is now doing war work exclusively.
What's the catch?
She's supposed to have driven off the cliff while intoxicated, but the ignition wasn't turned on. The key was in the lock, turned off.
Quite remarkable. In defense work, huh? Have a complete report ready. I'm flying immediately.
Pittsburgh. Check.
Come in.
Just had a thought. Check on the bookkeeper of the Pittsburgh Bronze Casting Company. Find out everything about him. Will arrive in about an hour.
Now, these reports, Mr. Harding, they're all on Henry Hughes.
Oh, you did well to get them this quickly.
Notice this, sir.
Very well, help it.
It's a matter of 2 years there. There seems to be no record of Henry Hughes at all during that period.
You take passport files?
Yes, Mr. Harding. If Hughes left the country and re-entered, he did so without leaving any record of it.
Well, there isn't isn't a thing here that points suspicion anyway to Henry Hughes. What about the bookkeeper of the bronze casting company?
Elmer Bruce, 65, small of stature, light hair, blue eyes. Lives with wife, both regular church attenders. She's a Sunday school teacher. They have a daughter and 2 sons, 1 grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce is very well thought of by his neighbors. He's a great lover of books. Goes to the library at least 4 nights a week.
The library, huh?
Quite a scholarly chap.
I think I'll drop over to the library and see if Bruce happens to be there. Pardon me, were you through with this book?
Oh, yes. I was just browsing through it.
Won't you sit down a moment? I'd like to speak to you.
Why, yes, certainly.
Aren't you Elmer Bruce?
Why, that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard of. I've never seen you before.
Well, this meeting isn't quite as accidental as it might seem, Mr. Bruce. For certain reasons, I didn't want to go to your home. I'd like to have you look at my credentials.
Mercy.
Oh, there's nothing to be nervous about.
Oh, have I done something wrong?
I just wanted to ask you a question, Mr. Bruce. Do you happen to know a man who works for your company by the name of Henry Hughes?
Why, yes. Oh, wasn't that a catastrophe, his wife's death?
Yes, a terrible thing. Mr. Bruce, of course you pay all the employees of the bronze casting company by check.
Oh, yes, 462, counting the 2 janitors and night watchmen. That is, the last count was that.
Oh, I see. Yes. Now, Mr. Bruce, tomorrow your accountants are going to call on you. And Mr. Harold Lawrence, the president of your firm.
Oh, yes.
Now, these accountants are going to recommend that you pay the employees from now on in cash instead of by check.
Oh, no.
I want you to fall in with the accountant's plan to pay from now on in cash.
But I couldn't. I'd be untruthful.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Bruce, but these happen to be government orders. A great deal depends upon them.
Well, I'm sorry, too, Mr. Harding. I respect my government, but even for it, I couldn't lie.
Mr. Bruce, it's very refreshing to meet a man of your principles.
I don't wish to be an unreasonable prick. I just want to do what's right.
Well, couldn't you say, under the present-day circumstances, you recommend paying by cash? That you wouldn't have to say what circumstances.
I see. Mm-hmm. Well, that's rather delicately skirting the truth. Well, I might. For my country.
Oh, that's fine. Now, you'll receive from the bank each week some separate bills of different denominations, which we will have the numbers of. Now, you are to put these designated bills in the pay envelope each week of Henry Hughes until notified to the contrary.
Oh, yes.
And you're not to mention to anyone under any circumstances that you have met or talked with me.
Oh, my gracious. That's a big responsibility. I hope I'm a big enough person, Mr. Harding. After all, I've always lived in my very small way, and I'm not a broad or big person.
Well, I know all about you, Mr. Bruce. You're considered a very fine person.
Thank you.
Now, I'll have to leave you. I'm going back to Washington.
Has just arrived from Pittsburgh by plane, Mr. Harding.
Send him right in. Got any news?
Quite a bit, Mr. Harding. Very interesting.
Let's see. Well, this report covers 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Henry Hughes has received 2 pay envelopes, each containing $125. All of that money was marked, and the banks were instructed to watch for it and to make careful notes where the different bills were turned in from. Hughes spent about $80 each week.
Let's see. He got paid Saturday.
By Monday noon, the bank had received $20 from the Berkshire Clothing Company, $15 from the Red Moth, so that's a nightclub, $30 from the hotel where Henry Hughes has his apartment. $5 of the money was received by the bank from a little cigar stand round the corner. Hughes evidently changed the bill there.
Well, let's take Tuesday.
A $10 bill from the gasoline station and garage where Hughes keeps his car.
Let me see that second week's report.
I think I know what you've noticed, Mr. Harding.
Let's see. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yes, first week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yes, sir. 3 times each week, one of those marked bills was returned to the bank from the Revelero Moving Picture House.
How often does this Revelero Moving Picture House change its feature pictures?
Twice a week, sir.
And yet Henry Hughes, shortly after his wife's death, over which he grieved greatly, goes to a certain movie house 3 times each week. Although they change the feature picture only twice a week.
Yes, Mr. Harding.
See that J4 goes to Pittsburgh immediately. Gets a job as usherette in the Revelero Moving Picture House. And have her contact me for further instructions.
Yes, sir.
Well, this case is beginning to look pretty big, George. I have a feeling that we're going into action.
We'll continue tonight's case of Counterspy in just a moment. But first,
here is a message of vital importance to women and girls who want to take an active part in the war effort. Your country needs you and needs you now as a student nurse. The need is so great that 19,000 student nurses will have to enter mid-year classes in January and February. Will you be one of them? You won't attack the enemy, but you'll fight. You'll fight pain. You'll fight casualties. Even as a student, you'll release some experienced nurse to help our fighting men on the fields of battle. Here is a direct call from your country. To answer it, women and girls between 18 and 35 who are citizens and high school graduates in good health should write to Student Nurse, Box 88, New York City. That's Box 88, New York City, and they will give you full information.
Now, back to Phillips H. Lord's Counterspy.
J4 reporting to Harding from Pittsburgh. J4 reporting from Pittsburgh.
Harding speaking. Proceed.
The man in question entered theater at 4:10, went down center aisle to row D, asked a girl to remove coat from a seat, and sat down next to her. After a while, spoke to her, and from then on they carried on conversation. This happened Monday and Wednesday. The same girl each time.
Who was the girl?
Phyllis Lawrence, daughter of the president of the Bronze Casting Company.
What?
Yes, sir.
Oh. I'll contact you later.
Yes, Mr. Harding.
I'm leaving for Pittsburgh immediately. Tell J7 I'm going to call on Mr. Lawrence, president of the Bronze Casting Company. Pardon me, Mr. Harold Lawrence at home?
He is, sir.
The card.
Yeah, ask who's calling.
You kindly take in my card, if you please.
Step in, sir.
Thank you.
If you'll wait, sir, I'll take your card to Mr. Lawrence.
Certainly.
See you immediately, Mr. Harding. He's in the living room. May I have your hat and coat, sir?
I think I'll take it with me.
May I take your package for you, sir?
No, I'd like to keep that with me, too.
Right this way, sir. Come in, Mr. Harding. Delighted to meet you, sir.
I'm very glad to meet you, Mr. Lawrence.
Sit down. Sit down. William should have taken your things.
Well, I'm just stopping for a moment. Mr. Lawrence, you have a daughter.
Why, yes, Phyllis.
Well, it's a little difficult for me to broach the subject, Mr. Lawrence. But
what is it, Mr. Harding? Speak up, man.
Look, are you aware, Mr. Lawrence, that your daughter is quite interested in a certain gentleman?
Why, no. Phyllis has many gentlemen friends. I don't think she's partial to anyone especially.
Well, I'm afraid, Mr. Lawrence, that I must tell you that she is.
Just a moment, Mr. Harding. I respect you and your position, but whether my daughter is partial to any young man or not is none of your business.
Well, I don't blame you for saying that, Mr. Lawrence. And believe me, I'd never be here if it were not for a very serious purpose.
What is it?
Well, the young man that your daughter happens to be interested in is in the employ of our enemies. Germany.
Now, let me get this straight. My daughter, you mean Phyllis?
Yes.
She's interested in a man who's a German spy?
I'm afraid so.
No, you're wrong. Who is he?
A man employed by you. Henry Hughes.
Oh, no, Harding. Hughes? Hughes' wife Phyllis doesn't even know him. Besides, his wife was just killed. Why, Hughes is a fine man.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lawrence, but Henry Hughes is a member of the German Gestapo.
He's lying. It isn't so. Don't you believe him, Father?
Phyllis, have you been listening?
Yes, Henry isn't a spy. He's a patriotic American, just as patriotic as you are.
Henry? Henry who, Phyllis?
Henry Hughes, if you've got to know. I've loved him for months, but I wouldn't see him. Then when his wife was killed, I didn't see why I shouldn't see him. He's honest, he's decent, and I'm not ashamed. I love him.
Phyllis, do you know what you're saying? I can't believe...
Mr. Lawrence, I'll leave. I think this is between you and your daughter.
Father, this man has tried to poison your mind. Henry's fine, and you know it. He's my sweetheart.
I'll call you shortly on the phone, Mr. Lawrence. Goodbye.
Phyllis, I want the truth. How long you've been seeing this man, Hughes? How do you know he isn't what Mr. Harding said he is? How do you know?
I do know, and he loves me. Ask him. He didn't love his wife anyway. He told me. Ask him.
I'll ask him nothing. You've been meeting him behind my back. You've been lying to me about where you were going. You haven't told me a thing about it.
Well, why should I? Is it a sin to love a man?
It's a sin to love an enemy. That man Harding must know what he's talking about.
I tell you, it's lies, a pack of lies. I'll prove it, they're lies.
I can see under the shade. Harding's driving off in his car.
Henry, that fool, that stupid ass.
I'd like to have my hands on him.
He's killing his wife that's led up to this. I told him not to.
But he was afraid of her. She got so jealous. We've got to get out, Phyllis. Things have gotten too hot.
No, it isn't all up yet. Henry's driven over the mountains tonight. The Counterspy evidently haven't arrested him yet, and we can see that he doesn't talk. On his way back here, he's found with a bullet.
Yes.
Let's get the car. I'll drive and meet him.
Do you think Harding was suspicious of us?
not. Harding thinks you're a respectable businessman, and I'm your innocent daughter led astray. They aim to warn us. We're safe if we can do away with Henry before he talks.
What's that?
What?
That package by the chair. Right there.
Oh, that's where Harding was sitting. Must have been in such a hurry he forgot it.
Wait a minute.
It's a short-wave set. Oh, it's trick. Harding left that there to trick us. He's heard everything we've said.
Quick, the car in the garage. Don't stop for a thing. Come on.
You drive. Oh, Brian, it is cold.
Shut up. I'm starting this.
I'm afraid it won't go.
Oh.
Yes, the distributor cap is missing, and I wouldn't move either one of you. Two of my agents are in the back and have you covered.
Very clever.
And the next time you go to a theater to meet a man, Phyllis, if you ever do, be sure and look around and see who's sitting in the seat behind you.
What my daughter has done has no bearing on me. Why am I arrested?
Oh, come, Mr. Lawrence. You've been operating this factory on money supplied by Berlin. You make parts for airplane motors so that your firm is close to many manufacturers and you have access to their plans. And besides, she's not your daughter. She's Fräulein Groch.
Henry's responsible. The fool, he ought to be shot.
That's just what he did. Killed himself when my men went to arrest him.
Henry?
Yes. Henry. Your father. We'll be back in just a moment to tell you about next week's exciting Counterspy case. But in the meantime, we wish to call your attention to the government's urgent appeal for the conservation of gas for cooking and heating. Gas must be conserved for the following reasons. It is used for fuel by many industrial plants, which are now expanded to double or triple their normal peacetime size. And it is used widely in the manufacture of armor plate, gun barrels, and similar equipment, which must be hardened or molded at extremely high temperatures. Because its flame is freer from impurities than the flame from coal or oil, gas is used almost exclusively in these processes. And gas is in itself a raw material for certain products. Synthetic rubber, for example, and ammonium nitrate, which is used in the manufacture of explosives. That is the why, and now here's the how, of gas conservation. Don't use the kitchen range to heat the house. If you heat with gas, keep your house below 65 degrees. Cook with a low blue flame. Use hot water sparingly. Those are directions direct from Uncle Sam. Now, they may not sound as intriguing as an assignment to track down and capture enemy spies, but the conservation of gas practiced by millions of soldier citizens on the home front will be echoed in cheers of victory from our fighting men, because the conservation of gas will help give them equipment and weapons they need. Next week, David Harding in Counterspy will be back with you again at this same time for The Case of the Trailed Count, the society woman who talked too much, the highball glass served by waiter 37, the man at the zoo, the long underwear at the railroad station, and the ultra-polite third degree. That's next week's unusual Counterspy. 11 days till Christmas. Give the presents with a future. The greatest gift of all, a share in America. Give war bonds and stamps.
does not pay.
You were careless, Bugsy, and you can't be careless. Not in this business. What do you mean careless? The jerk had a ton of wreck and cast iron hung on him. How could it come out? I don't know, except the papers say something about gases in the body making the swift flow rocks or no rocks. Sure, it's physics and chemistry, that's what. So now we gotta go to college and study physics. There's no finish to this. What about careless finish? Can you make that scientific? Yeah, I'll make it scientific. I'll fix him good with an ice pick.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro Goldwyn Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you'll hear Summertime Case, starring Charles Corbin. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Charles Corbin as Bugsy Portnoy in Summertime Take. Summertime is a good time for most people. Their vacations and all that goes with them. The resorts, the fun, the games, the freely spent money that has been saved for just this purpose during the other 11 months of the year. And where there is freely spent money, you'll find those who dip their fingers in it for their own purposes. Ozzie White dipped his fingers into that money and came up with double handfuls. Ozzie controlled the slot machines, the one-armed bandits, which stood invitingly in every bar, every casino in the resort area where Ozzie operated. Year in and year out, the nickels, dimes, and quarters flowed through the machines into Ozzie's pocket. And Ozzie had an organization. There was Specs as accountant, for one. Ozzie trusted Specs and listened when he had something to say.
I don't like it, boss. It don't look good to me.
Oh, what's wrong?
Last year, the machines at Swan Lake gave us twice the take we're getting this year.
That's all?
Same thing at White Lake.
How'd you run across this?
I was just playing around. The figures looked off this summer. But the hotels are as packed with suckers as last year. So I ran a check. Here's the figures. See, boss, 1947, 48, and 1949.
Mm-hmm. I see. How do you figure it?
Me, I just play with the numbers, boss.
And somebody else is playing with the tape.
Well, I wouldn't be hasty, boss.
Why not? You're sure of your figures, aren't you?
I ain't no CPA, but I can add and subtract.
Looks like somebody's been subtracting before we ever see the dough. Bugsy, come on in here.
You want me, Ozzie?
I called you, didn't I? Who's the collector in the Swan Lake district, Bugsy?
Wallace Sage. You know that.
You been around lately?
Yesterday.
You notice anything different about him?
Well, he's got some new shirts. Silk.
Anything else?
Nothing special. If there was, I'd notice it.
Yeah, I guess you would. How about Carol at Carter?
Nothing much. Why?
Any new shirts?
No, nothing.
Mm-hmm. Carol's collecting for us at White Lake. The take's awful low this year at White and Swan both.
I get it. Somebody needs to listen, eh?
Yeah. And you're the best teacher I know, Bugsy. So take care of it for me, will you?
Nothing like the country in the summer, I always say.
Nice of you guys to go out of your way to take me up to the lake. Take nothing of it, Wally. Take nothing of it.
Keep your eyes on the road, Smithy.
Don't worry about him, Bugsy. Smitty's the best driver I know. I like to sit next to him just to watch him work. Bugsy likes the back seat. That's where he works.
That's the lake up ahead, Smitty?
Yeah. Pretty in the moonlight, ain't it?
Nice view.
There's a better one up ahead.
I like this one. Talk for a minute, Smitty. Let's enjoy the moonlight.
Sure. Never thought you were romantic, Bugsy.
Oh, I got my moments.
Yeah, you certainly have, Bugsy. Boy, quiet out here. Nearest place is the inn, 5 miles up the road.
That's so. Hear what he said, Smitty?
Yeah, I heard.
Get the end of the rope, Smitty. Pull, Smitty. Pull.
Oh, I got it, Bugsy. Now hold it.
Yes, I'll take you, Wally. When you collect for us, you collect honest and turn in every nickel. Every nickel. Oh.
He's done, Bugsy.
Oh. Nothing like it, Smitty. Piece of rope over the head from the back seat, crossed ends, you pull on one, I pull the other. The guy just can't make any noise. First pull breaks his windpipe.
Yeah. Smooth.
Let's get rid of him.
Right. You got enough line to tie him with?
No line. Picture wire. Rope will rot in the water. We'll get the stuff out of the trunk.
Okay, sure.
I always figure this is simpler and faster than a cement jacket. Twice around the ankles, and the arms strapped behind. Very neat.
Here's a slot machine, mate, Bugsy. Plenty heavy.
Now, there's a terrific idea if I say so myself. The jerk dips into the tape, so we hang a base around his neck. That'll teach him. Twist that wire tight, Smitty.
Yeah, I got it. It'll teach him all right. So we'll keep him down.
Plenty of rock. That's why I picked this spot. Here. I'll hit this one to his feet. You got the cookies?
Yeah, my back pocket. Here.
Good. I'll hold it. Come on, take his head, Smitty.
Hey, can't we drag him? He's awful heavy.
And leave the marks on the ground? They wouldn't like that. Ready?
Never thought of that. Hey, is it far to the point?
Just a step or two. The water's plenty deep off the point.
Oh, what a night for a swim. Look at the moon and the water.
Yeah, Wally likes the country.
Hey, next time, let's take the body to the edge first and tie the weights on there, huh?
You got something there, Smitty. Ready? Okay. So swing him. Toss him out as far as you can. When I say 3, let him go.
Right with you.
1, 2. Right. That does it. He'll never come up. Let's go.
Boy, that'll teach him a lesson.
Oh, Jimmy. Isn't it heavenly up here?
You never been to Swan Lake before?
No. Have you?
My second summer. What do you like about it?
Oh, everything. Mountains, the sky, and the lake. It's never cold, these lakes. Not like some I've been in.
That's because it's artificial. Fed by small springs from the mountains that were dammed up years ago.
What are you, a walking encyclopedia?
No, a rowing encyclopedia. Sometimes I wish the summer could go on forever. Betty?
Yes, Jim?
Betty,
What? Jim, are there large fish in this lake?
Well, they stock it with fish from time to time. Trout, mostly. They don't grow very long.
I see.
Why?
I saw fish. It was sort of white and large. Seemed to be floating.
Well, fish don't float unless they're dead. Where is it?
It's over there. Turn around to the right.
Looks more like a white glove to me.
Maybe it is. Funny, gloves floating out here.
Let's get it, huh? Am I headed for it?
Let's go. That's it.
Yeah.
Not both. Good. Hold your course, sailor.
Aye, ma'am.
Hold it. Well, that's the thing, whatever it is.
Jimmy,
What is it?
it's attached to something.
Let me see. Steady, don't look. For heaven's sake, don't look.
What is it?
It's no glove. It's a human hand tied to another.
Oh.
The body's floating just below the surface of the water.
Hey, boss. That looks like Bugsy's slipping here in the paper. Body found in Swan Lake, tentatively identified as that of Wally Sage's small-time outfit.
Give me that.
Yes.
On the condition of the body, which was in a remarkable state of preservation, it was judged that the gangster had been dead about a week. Identification was made from the face. Bugsy, come on in here.
What's wrong, Ozzy?
Wrong. Here, read it.
Oh, it came up after.
What's the matter? You slipping?
I don't see how. Maybe we barely lugged him with a slot machine base tied to his chest and a rock on his feet.
Read the end of the story.
The body might have remained at the bottom of Swan Lake indefinitely had not the warm waters of the lake accelerated the accumulation of gases within it. Police authorities pointed out that gases retained within the body brought about the buoyancy sufficient to overcome the weight lashed to the body.
Oh, hold a rotten luck.
Looks like Wally had stomach trouble. Gas.
1 week. One stupid week and they find him.
So what, boss? They can't pin it on us.
You're careless, Bugsy, and you can't be careless. Not in this business.
What do you mean careless? The jerk had a ton of rock and cast iron hung on him. How could he come up?
I don't know. That's just what I read in the papers, but the stiff floated, rocks or no rocks.
Sure, it's chemistry and physics, that's what.
So now we've got to go to college and study physics. There's no finish to this.
What about Carol that's finished? Can you make that scientific?
Yeah. I'll make it scientific. I'll fix him good. With a knife pick. When Smitty and I get through with him, he'll stay down forever.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Summertime Take. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Charles Corbin as Bugsy Portnoy in Summertime Take. The summer moved along. The collection from the slot machines went on, and Specs checked his figures on receipts against the preceding years. Again, there was a mysterious discrepancy which was traced to the collections in the White Lake district. Apparently, the lesson taught Wally Sage had failed to have its proper effect on Carolette Carter. And so it happened that once again, a car sped along a highway with Smitty in the driver's seat, Bugsy in his usual place in the rear, and Carolette Carter in front, next to the driver, next to death.
Like the country, Carolette?
I can take it or leave it alone.
This is your district here, isn't it?
Sure, this is White Lake right here.
Any points of interest around here, huh?
What do you mean, points of interest? Like views or something? I wouldn't know. I tend to business, strictly.
That's so.
Well.
Ever been in swimming?
Too cold for me.
So I heard. Springford Lake, ain't it?
I suppose. I leave that to the same jerks who play our machines. Suckers.
Does anybody ever win?
Once in a while. Gotta have a come on. So we let a couple of them hit the jackpot. But mostly they get 3 lemons. Hey, where are you slowing down for? We'll never make the hotel before midnight at this rate.
We got plenty of time. I just want to look at the view.
Since when are you interested in the beauties of nature, Smitty?
Just a few weeks now. Especially in lakes with cold water, nice deep spots.
Yeah.
Special in Lake Street Code, Walter.
What's your guys?
You are, Carolus.
Yeah, but not for long.
Time's up, Carolus. You've got to learn the same lesson like me. Don't ever try to put on one over on Ozzy. Oh, Smitty.
Bullet. You're gonna tough stroke.
Here. Here's the ice pick.
Where'd I give it to you?
In the belly.
Something gas on gun out. Right.
Come on, Smitty. Give it to him. Fix him up like a soup strainer. The more holes, the merrier. Okay, Smitty, that's got it. Let's move in.
You betcha. Where's the boat?
Hit it in the clump of bushes yesterday. The rocks and slot machine base are in it. This one ain't never gonna come up after we're dumping him.
Bugsy, meet Bullets Morgan.
How are you?
Glad to know you. Ozzy tells me you know your business.
Thanks.
Bullets is the new collector up White Lake way.
Yeah.
Ozzy told me how you took care of my predecessor for him.
Nothing to it. 2 months now, and he's still feeding the fish.
Yeah?
Fred's here, Ozzy. You got your radio on?
No, why?
There's a news broadcast in a minute. You better catch it.
Why?
It's all over town. They found Carolus.
What?
That's all I know. The newsboys sent it out. You can get it on the radio. See you later.
Bugsy, turn on the radio, will you?
Nothing on now but news.
I know. Turn it on.
Sure. Never knew you were interested in their national situation, Ozzy.
I'm not.
Business is too good around here.
Shut up now and listen.
And so much for the news picture overseas. Here at home, a sensational development is the discovery of the body of Carolus Carter, found floating in White Lake, upstate. Carter, a mobster thought to have been connected with a gambling racket, was strangled and stabbed at least 15 times, probably with an ice pick. Wired to his body were several weights, and it is apparent that he had...
He couldn't come up. He just couldn't.
But he did.
I don't see how. He was so full of holes and gas just couldn't stay in.
But it did. When did you use the pick on him, Bugsy?
How do you mean?
Before or after you killed him?
During.
Oh, you gotta do it after.
Why?
We had a job like this back in Detroit. When you stick 'em before, the blood runs to the holes and stops them up, see?
I get it. I never thought of that.
It looks like you never thought of a lot of things, Bugsy.
About 2 months, Ozzy. It's 2 months.
It's a cold lake. It's like an ice box.
What do you want me to do about it?
There's nothing you can do about it. We just got to ride along and watch our step for a while, that's all. They can't tie it to us.
Well, next time you'll know. Yeah, sure.
Well, that's that. When are you going to show Bullets his territory, Bugsy?
Anytime he's ready. No time like the present, I always say. Why not? Smitty's got a car. We can drive up now. Suits me.
Okay with you, Ozzy? Sure. The quicker the better. Go on, beat it, both of you. Have a good time. But don't play the machines. That's a sucker's operation.
This is nice country, Bugsy. Yeah, if you like country.
Hey, remember how Wally liked the moon on the lake? And then over comes the rope?
You two really have that operation down to a science.
And how? Bugsy sits back where you are, see? The victim sits where Bugsy is right now, next to me. We stop the car. Bugsy throws the rope over his head. We each take an end. Ba-ba-boom. That's all.
Neat. Quick. Quiet.
Who said it?
Neat. Quick. Quiet. The victim sits where Bugsy is. All right now. How's Ozzy to work for us, Smitty?
Okay, swell. But he don't like two things. Guys would steal from him, and guys would make the same mistake twice.
You can't say I blame him. The same mistake twice. Ozzy doesn't like that. And I'm sitting where the victim sits. Who is this Bullets Morgan anyway? Why didn't Ozzy give the collecting job to Smith? He was in line for it, or to me. What's the matter, Bugsy? You
Yeah, he said nothing for 5 minutes.
Nothing to say, just watching the scenery.
Sure is deserted around here.
Yeah? That's why we do most of our jobs in this neighborhood.
This is the neighborhood. Why did Smith like this, Charlie? Does he bring his bullets in to do a special job? That's right. And me. That's why we're out here. Me, I'm next. Next on the hit parade.
What's the matter, Bugsy? You sick? You're shaking like a leaf.
No, nothing.
What's the matter, guy? You seen a ghost?
Hey, when Bugsy gets to say ghost, brother, it'll be more than one.
They're kidding. Like I did with the others. They're trying to keep me from seeing where we're heading.
Hey, Bugsy, you want I should stop for a minute?
No, don't stop.
Hey, what's with you?
You don't get me. Not like with Wally and Carol. I know the tricks. You don't get me.
He's gone nuts.
Bugsy, cut it out.
No, I'm getting out. I want to live. You don't get me.
Hey, Bugsy, leave that door alone. Bugsy, you're nuts.
No, I'm getting out. I'm getting away now before you tie her up to my feet.
Stop all that.
Come on, Smitty. We gotta find him. Brother, how's he have our next?
Yeah, find him in these woods at night. Where? Which way did he go?
Back this way, into the trees.
No. You don't get me in no woods. Not with Bugsy nuts and packing a piece. Besides which, I ain't no Indian. I hate the country.
Can't let them get me. Want to live. Gotta get the phone. Get the phone. Maybe a house. There's a house. Maybe a phone can't help me. Wake them up. They'll help me. Help me.
Wake up. Wake up. Help me. Help. I need help. Please. Somebody got to be inside. Help. Help me.
Hold your horses. I'm coming.
Someone's there. Someone's coming. Hurry, please. Hurry. They're after me.
Now, what's all this about?
You got to let me in. I'm in danger. 2 men. They'll kill me.
Around here, nobody in this neighborhood but us.
Joe, let the young man in. You can't keep him on the porch all night.
Oh, yes, White. Well, come in.
Oh, thank you. Thank you a million times.
Joe, look at the young man.
I'm looking. City fella.
But his clothes are all torn. His face is scratched.
I jumped from a car. They were going to kill me.
Who was going to kill you?
Smitty and Bullet. You've got to hide me. They'll be after me. They won't let me get away.
Young man, I think you've been drinking.
No, it's the truth. You've got to save me.
Joe, where are you going?
Telephone. Sounds like business for the sheriff to me.
Yes. The sheriff. I'll talk. If I talk, they'll protect me. They'll let me leave. I'll have they do that.
Here's just a phone. Oh. Hello, Sadie. I want the sheriff. Quick.
You saved me. I don't know how I'll ever repay you.
Now, don't you worry about that. Living way out here, we don't get much chance to help folks. When we can.
Sheriff Winters.
Hello, Sheriff. This is Joe Karowski.
Hi, Joe. You got trouble out your way?
Maybe. Hold on. We've got a visitor. I'll let him talk to you. Here, young man, take the phone.
Yes. Thank you. This is the sheriff?
Yep. Who are you?
This is Bugsy Portnoy. You know the name.
Never heard of you.
You heard I want me wife.
Yes. So what?
I worked for him. He sent me out to get it like Wally Page and Carol Carter got it. Tonight. I know how they got it. And I was going to get it too, only I jumped before.
How do you know how they got it?
I did it both times, but I want to live. I got to live. You can save me, but you got to help me. I'll tell you everything. Please, come for me. They're looking for me now. Hurry. I live in jail. Outside, I'm dead. Come for me. I don't want to open the water and the gas inside. I'm afraid. Hurry, please.
Crime does not pay. Charles Corbin, who was starred as Bugsy Portnoy in Crime Does Not Pay, will be back with you in just a moment.
Now, here in person is Charles Corbin.
Believe me, Bugsy Portnoy was an interesting character to portray because his swaggering, his viciousness, and his eventual and inevitable breakdown are typical of the small-time gangster with his usual delusions of grandeur. However, it is just as interesting to notice the contempt in which the other characters held the plain people, whose coins in the slot machines made up the summertime take. These are people like you and me. People who lend their support to criminals because we don't stop to think about what we are doing. Because we are misled so many times by the simple words, innocent amusement. You see, in the end, it is up to us to stop this kind of criminal activity by the simple act of refusing to lend it our support under any and all circumstances. Yes, in the end, it is the plain people, the good citizens, who can prove that crime does not pay.
Thank you, Charles Corbin. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turkis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
Thank you.
Oh, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
Gangbusters has asked the Honorable John J. Sullivan, former Deputy Commissioner and Chief of Detectives of the New York City Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Chief Sullivan, you've told me tonight's case was a murder mystery.
Well done, Gardner, it was. But I think it would be best if we follow this gang of dangerous criminals through every move, and then see what the police did with the facts as they turned up in the course of investigation.
All right, Chief Sullivan, go right ahead.
Thank you, Don. Suppose we begin a little more than a year ago in the Astoria section of New York City on a dark, rainy night. A lone man had parked his car at the curb in front of an old frame house. Walked up on the porch, looked through the lighted window, then rang the doorbell.
Come on, Nick, open up.
Prayer?
Yeah, open up.
Okay.
Nice night out, huh? I didn't come to talk about the weather. Give me the raincoat. Carrie,
Yeah?
come on downstairs. We got company.
Okay, in a minute.
I want to talk to you, Nick, not with her. Okay, let's go in the parlor. I ran into Gabe today. Yeah? He tells me he's been doing okay. You know Gabe. Talks big. You better start talking big, Nick. What do you mean? Your bookkeeping's been all wet. Who are you going to believe, Gabe or me? Till I learn different, Gabe. You've been getting every cent that's coming to you. I don't like to be held out on, Nick. The original deal has been lived up to. Gabe said his kids picked up 43 cars last month. Gabe is a liar. The original deal was that I'd also get $50 for every car Gabe's kids picked up. I want the rest of my dough. Gabe's kids only brought in 18 cars. You got paid for those. I'll show you the books if you want. I believe your books as much as I believe you. Look, we got a good thing here, Brer. Trouble is, it's better for you than for anybody else. Well, why shouldn't it be? Who goes to all the trouble painting the cars, fixing up the motor numbers, shipping them out of town? Look, Nick, gonna get my dough one way or the other. Hey, cut it out. Let go of me, will you?
Playing rough, boys?
Oh, Carrie. Come in.
Hello, Brer. Haven't seen you around in a long time. I missed you.
This is the last time you'll see me. Now listen to me, Nick. I'm going to get...
Nick?
Yeah?
I'm fixing drinks. You'll have to come in the kitchen and open the bottle for me.
Sure, okay. I'll be right back, Brian. I'm not going anyplace.
Corkscrews scare me to death.
Okay, don't get into enough. What did you offer him a drink for?
To get you out of a spot.
That idiot, Gabe. That could bring his neck.
If you asked me, that'd be wringing the wrong neck.
Jerk.
Brayer's the guy that's putting up the beef. Either you pay him off with cash...
You don't get a cent.
Or you just pay him off.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a little too smart for this setup. You can't make any money out of the smart ones.
So how are you going to do it?
I'll figure out a way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Then what?
We dump the stiff out in the country.
What about Gabe?
Who knows? Maybe we give him the same treatment.
Get the bottle.
Yeah.
Let me keep our customer happy.
Well, how about out to the Pines, Gabe? That's a nice place.
Oh, Carla, baby, I don't feel like driving way out there in all this rain. Besides, the joint stinks.
It was all right when they had that blonde singer out there.
Oh, are you going to throw that up to me again, Carla? I never even met the dame. Just because once I said she looked okay, I'm nuts about her.
Watch it, Gabe. You got a red light.
I see it.
So? Where are you going to take me?
I don't know yet. First, I want to drive over and see Nick for a minute.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, crying out loud, what are you going to go see him now for?
Because I want to talk over something with him, that's
You
why.
always got something to talk over. Can't you ever do anything without Nick? Always Nick.
You can come in if you want. Carrie will be glad to see you.
Yeah, well, I won't be glad to see her. How long are you going to be?
Only a couple of minutes, that's all.
I'll wait in the car.
Can't you come
I
in?
said I'll wait in the car. Go ahead, the light's green.
Dames.
Another drink, Brer? One's enough. When do I get my money? Okay, I'll settle with him. Carrie, I said I didn't want another drink. This ain't for a drink. Carrie's the treasurer of the corporation. Carrie,
Yeah, Nick?
get me $12.50 for Brer.
$12.50.
That's what he said.
Has he got that much coming?
Yeah. Get it.
Well, come on, Brea.
Why?
Where do you think to get your dough?
You give in too easy to suit me, Nick.
Well, I guess he likes you. Don't you, Nick?
All right, Brer, don't move. Put that gun up. What do you need a gun? On your feet, Brer. Look, Nick. You're not doing yourself any good. On your feet. That's it. Now, don't try anything. Start backing up. Go ahead, back up. Open the door, Carrie.
Yeah.
All right, Brer. What's down there? Cellar. What else?
Can't you guess, honey?
Go ahead. Back down the stairs. Suppose I don't want to go. That's no problem.
Shove him.
Now go. Come on, Carrie.
He's out cold.
No good chestnut.
What are you kicking him for? Do it cleaner.
I feel like kicking him, that's why.
Shoot him in the head, Nick. Make it good and clean.
Sure. Good and clean. Stand back.
Nick.
I hear it.
Who is it, Nick?
How should I know?
You better answer.
You see who it is. Send him away. Don't know anything.
All right. But you keep your eye on this one.
Go on.
All right. I'm coming. Yes, who is it?
Me, Harry. Gabe.
Dave? What do you want?
Want to see Nick?
Nick's busy.
Hi, Carrie. Can I see him for a minute?
I don't know. Come on in. I'll ask him.
I can only stay a minute.
I'll see if Nick will talk to you.
Well, he sure ought to.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah?
Tell him I only got a minute, Carrie.
It's Gabe.
Yeah? Come down here a minute, Gabe.
Hey, steps are dark.
Go on, you'll find your way. I thought you'd want to make this a double party, Nick.
What are you doing down here, Nick? Counting your money in the dark, huh?
Over here, Gabe.
Hey, how about a little light?
Turn on the light, Carrie.
Sure.
Oh, that's better. Oh. What happened to him?
Everything would have been fine, Gabe, if you hadn't opened up your big mouth.
What did I do?
You talk too much. You and Bray are going to get it together.
Me?
You heard him.
Nick, please. Nick, I didn't do nothing. I work with you, Nick. You know I work with you.
You got it coming, Gabe.
Nick, I didn't do nothing, honest. Carrie, tell him not to kill me. Tell him, Carrie, will you, please?
I'm not saying a word.
Nick, I'll do anything you say, Nick, anything.
Get out of the way.
Nick, you're not going to kill me, are you?
I haven't made up my mind yet. Now stand back.
Yeah, sure.
I ought to wait until Bray comes around so he'd feel this.
Go ahead, Nick. Get it over with.
Yeah.
I'll do anything you say, Nick. Honest.
You talk too much.
Please, Nick, go. I'll do anything.
Yeah? Think you can get rid of this stuff?
Me?
Yeah, you.
And get rid of the gun, too.
Now?
Sure, now. This ain't any more.
But I got Carl outside in the car.
Okay. Take her home and come back here.
Okay, Nick, right away.
And be sure you come back. If you don't, I'll know where to find you.
I'll be back, Nick. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
That, Don, was exactly how the gangland execution occurred. The murder itself was over. The task of disposing of Brayer's body still remained. That and the gang leader's faith in his control over Gabe led to complications the criminals did not see until it was too late.
Now back to Gangbusters. You were telling us, Chief Sullivan, how the gang leader Nick Manta murdered his Confederate Brayer and then ordered another underling to dispose of the body.
That's right, Don. Brayer's body was stripped of all identifying clothing, then loaded into Nick's new Pontiac sedan. Gabe was under orders from Nick to report by telephone as soon as he had accomplished his task.
Get it, Carrie.
Sure. Hello.
Carrie? Gabe, let me talk to Nick.
Just a second. Nick, it's Gabe.
Everything go all right, Gabe?
Yeah, Nick. I got the load right at the spot you said. The gun, too, right to the golf course.
Good work, Gabe. Come on back here.
There's one thing, Nick.
What?
Now, look, Nick. It wasn't my fault.
What happened?
It was nothing, Nick.
Well, what was it? Tell me.
It was nothing. Just that after I got rid of the load and wanted to drive away, the car got stuck in the mud.
Stuck in the mud?
Yeah, but it's okay. I got away all right.
You're sure?
Yeah, sure. It was a cinch. With a tow truck.
Tow truck? What tow truck?
Somebody help me, honest. The car was...
Listen, you idiot. You'll be back here in 10 minutes.
Okay, Nick. I'll be there.
Stupid jerk. I know I should have given him the business, too. Dumping a stiff. He gets stuck in the mud. They find the body. They find the tow truck guy. They find Gabe.
So what's the matter with that, Nick?
What isn't the matter with it?
Only the cops will think he killed Brayer. They'll have him dead to rights. He was dumping the body, wasn't he? All you have to say is Gabe and Brayer were here. They had words and then they left together. And that's the last we saw of either of them.
Well, what about the car? The garage guy will remember my car, sure.
What kind of a problem is that? You just tell Gabe to take a trip in your car. Then report it stolen. If they don't get him, nobody loses. If they do get him, he fries.
You got a head on you, Carrie. I'll see that Gabe starts on his little trip tonight.
You sure got it going over, Captain. A good beating and 4 shots in the head.
Yeah. I hate to see it start again. We haven't had a gangster ride since Chippy got us.
Well, you sure wanted to get rid of this one, all right.
Yeah, well, if it is a ride job, be sure to have a record. We'll see what turns up at the fingerprints. Sergeant Mitchell.
Yes, sir.
Stick around until the medical examiner gets here.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Frank. You going to make plastic casts of those footprints?
The lab crew's on the way out. Those tire tracks, too.
Good.
That's a pretty deep hole in the mud there. It looks like the murder car, if it was the murder car, had to be towed out.
You'll put a check in garages?
First thing, Captain.
Well, Frank, I've got to get back to town. I want to check on this gun. You let me know if there's any identification through fingerprints?
As soon as I hear, Captain. See you later.
Come on.
a fine thing, Gabe. Get your things together, throw them in a car, start out, drive for who knows where.
Oh, Carla, leave me alone, will you? All day you've been at me.
I never heard of leaving in such a hurry. They just don't do things like that.
You didn't have to come unless you wanted to.
And I feel naked without my rings. I packed in such a hurry I even left my rings. That's no way to start in a trip.
How many times do I have to tell you your rings will be there when you get back?
How can I go any place without my rings?
I wish you'd have stayed home and sent your rings.
That's the way you feel about it, Uncle Back.
Oh, baby.
We're going to stay a while in Richmond.
I guess so. I got some business there for Nick.
And a wire my landlady to send my rings there.
No.
Oh, please.
I said no. Nick don't want nobody to know I'm out on this trip. Nobody.
Captain Bailey speaking.
Lieutenant Frank, after we got an identification on that murder victim.
Oh, good.
The fingerprint showed up. He's Joe Breyer. Has a record for car theft.
Breyer, huh?
That's right, Captain. He was handled a little while back. Suspected of being a part of that car theft ring, but Auto Theft Bureau couldn't make anything stick against him.
Is there an address on him?
He's got a room down in Brooklyn.
Okay, pick me up, Frank. We'll go by there. Maybe we'll turn up with something.
Well, go on, Carrie. What else?
Wait till I turn the page, Nick. Yeah, the two boys ran across the body as they were walking across the rain-soaked golf course.
Mm-hmm.
A .25 caliber automatic of Belgian make was found nearby. Police would not say whether this was the gun that killed Breyer until ballistics tests were completed.
Well, so far, Carrie, so good.
I can't make up my mind, Nick, whether I'd like to see him catch Gabe driving your car or whether I'd like to see him get away.
Well, either way, Carrie, it doesn't make any difference. We're in the clear. That's the important thing.
Yeah, there's only one thing about this. Getting rid of Breyer is okay. Gabe, too. It kind of puts a crimp in the organization. We can't make dough out of stolen cars if we haven't got people.
Don't worry about it. We'll get new people, better people. Cops are getting too close to Breyer and Gabe anyway. We got lots of cash. We're sitting pretty. Don't worry about it.
Okay, Nick. I'm not the worrying kind.
Well, Captain, we found the garageman that hauled that car out of the mud near the spot. It was Sunday night. Green Pontiac sedan, two-tone, brand new.
Good work, Frank.
And he made a note of the plates. The car is registered in the name of Nick Manta. Reported stolen Monday morning.
Nick Manta?
Rings a bell, huh? Well, it ought to. The auto theft boys have been trying to hang a stolen car deal on him for months.
I thought I recognized the name.
Yeah, Captain. Seeing that Breyer had a record as a car thief.
Okay, Frank. What do you say we go out and see Mr. Nick Manta?
I'm ready. Let's.
Okay, just a second. What do you want?
I want to talk to Nick Manta.
Well, what do you want to talk to him about?
Open up, sir, to our police officers.
Oh. Well, why didn't you say so? Come on in.
Thanks.
Nick.
Yeah?
You got company. Cops.
Who are you?
I'm Carrie. Nick's girl.
I hope you gentlemen have come to tell me you found my car.
Yes, Nick, that's one thing on our minds, your car.
That's too bad about Breyer. I was going to call you.
Oh, you were?
And maybe I got some information for you guys.
Every little bit helps.
Breyer was here Sunday night.
The medical examiner thinks he was killed sometime Sunday night. Or Monday morning.
There was another one here, too. Gabe Miller.
Two of them work for you?
We had dealings.
In the stolen car racket?
I'm a legitimate garage man. You can't prove nothing different.
And we'll try. But for now, what about your guest Sunday?
Well, they got pretty drunk, didn't they, Carrie?
Uh-huh.
And the next morning, my car was missing. I reported it.
Yes, I know.
Well, then I read about Breyer. Gabe hasn't shown up since. Then tonight, I noticed a gun I had around the house was missing. A Belgian automatic.
25 caliber?
Yeah, that's the one. I figured Gabe took it, took my car, and killed Breyer. Isn't that right, Carrie?
That's what he figured.
Yes, I suppose that's about the size of it. Why didn't you report this information sooner?
Well, you know how it is, Captain. Nobody likes to get mixed up in these things.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lieutenant, let's go.
Captain.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
We're sure glad we were of some help.
You're not planning on taking any trips, are you?
Oh, no. We'll be right here.
That'd be a good idea. You can never tell when we might need you again. Just stick around. Come on, Lieutenant.
Goodbye.
Not going to leave those two on the loose, Captain.
For a while. But get men on them and keep them in sight. And in the meantime, Frank, get descriptions out on the car and Gabe Miller. Also, I want a complete report on Gabe's contacts around town.
Right.
Attention, all points. Description of car believed driven by man previously described. 1946 Pontiac sedan. Painted green, two-toned. New York license 3P5612. All departments requested to be on alert for this car and detain occupants. Notify Chief of Detectives, New York City. Captain Bailey.
Frank, Captain, I've been checking up on Gabe's girlfriend. She left on a trip Monday.
Gave you the company.
But listen to this. Her landlady got a wire from her this morning. She left some rings here. The landlady should mail them to her.
Where?
The Suites Hotel, Richmond, Virginia.
That's our break, Frank. How would you like it down to Richmond instead of the rings?
Captain, I'd like it fine.
Now back to Gangbusters.
Gabe, let's go see if there's any mail.
Mail? Who you expect the mail from?
Nobody, I guess. I just like to look at it.
Forget about the mail. Let's go have some breakfast.
Okay, I'll look at the mail later.
We don't know a soul in Richmond. Nobody knows we're here, and she's looking for mail. Hey.
What?
You didn't send for those rings after I told you not to.
Gabe, I just had to have them.
No good rings. I ought to break every bone in your body. Come on, we're getting packed and getting out of here. Come on. I should have known better than bring you along.
That's far enough, Gabe.
Hey, who are you?
You're under arrest. Going back to New York. Charge is murder.
Hey, now look.
Come on. Get your things together. You're going back to New York.
I'm sorry to have kept you waiting so long, Mr. Manta, and you too, miss.
Oh, we didn't mind. Did we, Nick?
Oh, no, Captain. If we can help, okay. Brea was our friend. Yes, well, I've just finished questioning Gabe in my office. And he admitted the murder? No, quite to the contrary. He accuses the two of you.
Oh.
You're kidding. No, I'm not. And he's sticking to a story. He said you shot Brea in the cellar of your house and forced him to dispose of the body.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It sounds that way, doesn't it? If I was the killer, do you think I'd let a dope like Gabe in on it? Do you think I'd report my car stolen? Well, you've got a point there. Would you mind stepping into my office? Oh, sure. This way, please. Gabe's in there.
Oh, that rotten heel.
I'll have to ask you to control yourself. I don't want a disturbance. All right, Captain. For you.
Nick.
Sit down, Gabe.
There they are, the dirty double-crossers. They did it.
Quiet, Gabe. Would you have those chairs there, please?
Of course.
Thank you. Gabe, Nick, and Carrie deny all your accusations. And I'm afraid that at the moment I'm inclined to believe them.
They're lying. That's all they do is lie. I'm telling you straight, they killed them.
Excuse me. Certainly, Captain. Captain Bailey.
Frank, Captain, we're all finished out here.
Oh, what'd you find out?
We tore the cellar drain apart, Captain. The test showed everything you thought it would.
Good. Come back into the office and make out a report.
Okay, Captain. So long.
Well, as I was saying, we've got the case washed up. I'm going to ask the district attorney to file formal murder charges.
Hey, you see, Gabe? You do something like this, you pay.
I'd like to get my hands on you, Nick.
No, I'm afraid you misunderstand. The murder charges will be filed against you, Nick, and Carrie.
Who are you kidding?
You see?
Yes. While you've been waiting out in the reception room, my men were out at your house. Traces of blood and human hair showed up in your basement drain. Brea's blood and hair.
Now, look.
Shut up, Carrie. I've got an explanation for everything.
No further explanations are necessary. If you have a story, you can tell it in court.
So, Don, the criminals were tried and convicted of first-degree murder. Nick was sentenced to death in the electric chair. Carrie was given life imprisonment. And Gabe was convicted as an accessory.
Thank you, Chief Sullivan, for giving us an insight into how police conduct a murder investigation. And Gangbusters, congratulations to all the police officers who were responsible for bringing these murderers to justice. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by Ted Corday, with Ann Burr and Frank Reddick in leading roles. Don Gardner speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail the courage of patriots. Our story is entitled The Invisible Chain. It's a true story of courage and intrigue during historic times of the American Revolution. Our first act curtain will rise in just a moment, but first...
Here is a message for you young women. There's a future for you in Air Force Blue. Yes, an important future in the exciting places of the world. Today, the WAF, Women in the Air Force, is rapidly expanding to keep pace with our defense needs. If you are between the ages of 18 and 34 and can qualify, enlist in the WAF, Women in the Air Force, and join the many patriotic American women who are serving their country on the Air Force team. Visit your United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station. Have a talk with a recruiting sergeant and learn all of the facts today.
And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, The Invisible Chain. Shortly after dark, the lugger put out between the islands. With the wind strong from the southeast and the tide on the ebb, she sailed on a long reach, cutting a white, frothy track across the sound. But it was a track no hunter could follow, for the sea quickly smoothed it over and the darkness blotted it out. 2 hours before midnight, the small sailboat, its sails tightly furled, slipped into a deserted cove above Setauket on the north shore of Long Island. The night was black, and the wind had a bone in its teeth.
What of the fish in the sea?
All would be independent, free.
Evening, Caleb. You made it in good time.
Yeah. This wind holds, you'll do as well on the return.
Run into any picket boats?
Nary one.
Cooper Jr. advises me that the information in these dispatches is most vital.
Hand them over. Be out my way.
You can find your way in this darkness is beyond me.
Each his own. Ain't I your job, I do, Pounder.
Should either of us do that, we'd both dance a jig at the end of the news.
We'll watch for your signal. Here, give me a hand.
The two men met as they had been doing for over a month, and as they would continue to do for months to come. In October 1778, Abraham Woodhull and Caleb Brewster were engaged in a dangerous and unsung occupation for the cause of independence. They were important members in our country's first intelligence corps. They belonged to the chain Major Benjamin Talmadge had forged and linked around and through the British-held city of New York, the place where General Clinton and his officers formulated their strategy on the conduct of the war against the colonies.
Sit down, David. Orderly. Send in the dispatch rider. You're looking well. It won't bother you?
No, not really, Major. I can tell when it's going to rain.
Well, at least... come in, Pat. Pat, I want these papers delivered to General Washington just as quickly as they can reach him.
You'll find him at Middlebrook. Report back here to me as soon as you come in. Good luck.
Well, talkative fellow.
That's too busy doing to talk.
And chewing.
Yes, and chewing. Well, David, I've got a job for you if you feel up to it.
Fit as a fiddle, Major.
You understand how the system in New York works?
I think so. Man who calls himself Culper Jr. picks up information in the city and passes it on to a man who calls himself Culper Sr. on Long Island. And he hands it over to a boatman from Connecticut, who hands it over to you.
That's close enough. Now, of course, Culper Jr. has a number of sources of information. Should any one of them fall into British hands, they could expose Culper Jr. It's a risk. Big risk he's had to take. This morning we learned that one of his most important informants was suspected on Wednesday past.
They caught him?
Not yet, as far as we know. Luckily, he was given some warning and managed to evade capture. He's gone to work somewhere in the city.
You think if they find him, he'll expose Culper Jr.?
Diggs might, to save his own neck. As long as Diggs remains in New York, he's a threat to our most important link in the chain.
And you want me to go find him and bring him out?
If he hasn't been captured already, yes. If he has been captured, Culper Jr. will know and have left the city.
What am I to pose as? A loyalist?
The most loyal loyalist that ever drank a toast to George III. I've arranged everything. You have but to give me your answer. And remember, David, you're under no obligation to undertake this task. It's extremely dangerous. And should you succeed, there'll be no thanks from anyone but General Washington and myself.
Well, I'd say that was thanks enough.
It was called the Neutral Ground, and it lay between the outposts of the two armies. It was a vast, thickly wooded, little inhabited no-man's land, covering roughly the area between White Plains to the north and King's Bridge to the south. It was an area infested with brigands and gangs of toughs whose only loyalty was to their pocketbooks. Here, cavalry patrols of the opposing armies kept restless watch over one another, and now and again clashed in short, grim conflict. The man who traveled this area alone, whether armed or not, was, to say the least, foolhardy.
You get away! Lieutenant Trowbridge! Yes, sir. Lights fading fast. Best be getting back. Bring the troop. Hark! Down here, sir. There he is. Take it. Out, please. Troop forward. Ho!
Now, sir, suppose you'll tell me who you are and what's your business.
Well, first, Captain, let me thank you for saving my neck. Another 5 minutes and they'd have had me.
I'm glad to be of service. You must be a stranger to this territory, or else a bloody fool for riding in it alone.
Yes, who were they?
Brigands, thieves, murderers.
Much safer being chased by rebel cavalry.
Had them after you, too, eh?
Yes, I came through the lines west of White Plains. One of their pickets spotted me. They chased me all the way to Scarsdale.
Surprised they didn't catch you. Deuced good men.
Rabble, sir. Riffraff, the offscourings of the gutter.
Maybe so. Fight them, learn respect. May go in rags. Fight like devils. Crafty.
I'm surprised to hear an English officer say so.
Surprised myself. Who are you, sir?
My name is David Gray. I'm from Newport. I bring news from friends there for Major Delancey.
Major Delancey expect you?
Not exactly, but he'll be glad of the news I bring.
I see.
You don't trust me, Captain.
I don't know you from Adam. Maybe a rebel spy. Trust no one till I'm sure.
Well, I guess I can't blame you for that. Though I blush for shame at the thought.
The bookshop stood on what is now the corner of Broadway and Pell Street. It was a fashionable store, and its young proprietor, Robert Townsend, was accepted and liked by British officers and Loyalist sympathizers alike. Townsend mingled freely with them, visited the nearby coffee houses in their company, and joined them at the Royal Theatre on John Street, where current news from London was bandied about. There was nothing strange or suspicious about David Gray, late of Newport, visiting the bookshop shortly after his arrival in the city.
Good evening, sir. help you?
Yes, I'm looking for a somewhat rare edition. Major Littleton said that you might possibly have it.
Major Littleton? Oh, yes. Well, it's kind of him to send you here. I hope I have it for you. What's the title?
Dr. Pegasus' Revelations. In the Latin.
I was just locking up for the night. Possible I may have the copy you desire in the back room. Go right through there. I'll join you in a moment.
Thank you.
I was beginning to think you'd never come.
Been touch and go.
How did you manage?
I brought reports from Newport to Delancey. Major Talmadge had intercepted their original messenger. I've taken his part.
They trust you?
Yes, as far as I can tell. You know where Diggs is hiding?
Diggs told me if he ever had a run for it, there were 3 places he might go.
Once I locate him, what's our best plan?
You must try to get to Setauket and Culper Sr. He can hide you both until a boat can be sent. Now, if you will hold that end of the map, I'll show you.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can try to make a plan.
The tavern stood boxed in by a row of run-down buildings, little more than shanties. It was a poor, foul-smelling neighborhood, and after dark a man must be on his guard. The tavern was frequented by British and Hessian soldiery, press gangs, and a host of other unsavory characters. It was no place for a gentleman of fashion to stick his neck, else he'd lose it. But a man wearing a black patch over his eye, a dirty black coat to match it, and battered trichrome to cover his unkempt hair, was accepted into this raucous company without notice.
What'll it be?
Run, you fat-bellied pirate.
I'll see the color of your money first, One-Eye.
I'll see the color of your blood if you're not cautious. Here, that satisfy you?
Oh. Smuggling must be profitable these days.
Now leave off your blathering and bring me rum.
What'll it be? Ram, pint?
The bottle, you addle-pated jackanapes.
Here. Prime West Indian comes off a privateer, not a week past. And I hope you choke.
Not bad. Not half bad for a pesto such as this.
If it's not to your liking, drink elsewhere.
Privateer wouldn't be the Lucy, would she?
Might be. Why?
I got me a score to settle with one of her crew, that's why, if it's any of your business.
Her hands laid to here. Off as not.
Ah, you don't tell me. You know a yellow-livered, round-bellied cove calls himself Diggs?
Diggs, is it?
Diggs, is it? You're not thief.
He ain't been in tonight.
Lucky for him. If you should see him before I do, tell him Uncle Ben's been asking after results. And tell him when I get my hands on him, it'll take a quick turn for the worse.
I'll do that. Stand easy until after I close. What's your pleasure, mate? Now then, who are you in? What do you want with Diggs?
I've been to try and get him out.
What's on the corner of Broadway and Pell Street?
Bookshop.
Who's the proprietor?
Robert Townsend.
Does he have another name?
Culper Jr.
Oh, man. You don't know how close you came to having your innards blown out your back. So they sent you to get him out, eh? Ordinarily, it couldn't be too hard a task.
I know they've got a careful watch out for him.
That's not what I mean. When they caught on to him, he came here, and I've kept him hidden since then. And tied up.
What do you mean?
You were right when you said yellow-livered. He's green with fear, and he grows more so every day. Were I to turn him loose, he'd run for the British and tell them all he knows to keep the rope off his neck.
Oh, that's bad.
Aye. Not only Culper Jr. would go, but I'd go too.
All right, let's have a talk with him.
Talking will do little good, I'll warrant. I had my mind made up. If you hadn't come tonight, there wouldn't have been any Diggs on the morrow.
Kill him?
It's the safest and the quickest way all around. We've got too much at stake to take a risk on the likes of him.
listening to the proudly we hail production, The Invisible Chain. Our story will continue in just a moment after this important message.
You know, times have certainly changed. Just a few short years ago, women were completely left out of this man's world. Today, however, in more and more instances, women are proving that they can assume the role of skilled technicians. A case in point is aviation. Today, in our rapidly expanding Air Force, women are taking their places as photographers, control tower operators, cryptographers, and dispatchers. And these are but a few of the vital services now being performed by the women in the Air Force. If you're between the ages of 18 and 34 and can qualify, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today.
You are listening to Proudly We Hail, and now we present the second act of The Invisible Chain. New York City in the days of the Revolution had a population between 18 and 20,000. The main portion of its inhabitants lived on the lower part of Manhattan, and a large portion of the island was either wooded or farmland. The British headquarters at Beekman Mansion was located at what is now 51st Street and 1st Avenue. As the British had captured the city in 1776, by the fall of 1778 they were completely acquainted with its topography, much of its citizenry, and perhaps most importantly, its avenues for arrival and departure. They also held all land and waterways in the immediate vicinity of the island. And so to get off Manhattan without a proper pass was an extremely difficult and dangerous job. British sentries were alert, suspicious, and constantly on their guard against any illicit movement either into or out of New York.
Now listen to me, Diggs. For the last time, I risked my neck to come here and find you. Either you're going to get hold of yourself and agree to try to get away with me, or your host here is going to put a bullet in your head.
I tell you, you can't get
Don't
out.
tell me anything.
Oh, why waste time with him? He'll only get all of us caught.
Be still. Diggs, there's no one who suspects me. I'm thought to be an ardent loyalist. Delancey likes me, will probably offer me a job shortly, but I can't afford to wait around until he does. Now, sooner or later, someone is going to recognize me, or someone is going to come from Newport who knows the man I'm supposed to be. That means our time is short, and we've got to work fast. Have you always worn that beard?
What?
The beard. Have you always worn one?
Well, aye, but
Get a
I
shaving
haven't...
bowl. I'll show you how to change a man's look.
Now, boil me for a codfish. If I didn't know 'twas me, I wouldn't believe 'twas me. Fair astonishing.
Well, it shows what a little hair dye and grease paint will do. I'll wager when I get rid of these trappings, you'll not recognize me either.
I look like a dandy.
After a bath, you'll look like my valet.
Huh? I don't follow you so good.
You're going to follow me back to my lodging.
No.
Now, look,
you
silly fool. You can't recognize yourself. What makes you think anyone else will recognize you? You're coming with me, and you'll do as I say, or I'll put a bullet through you. Can't you walk any faster? You've got to get to my lodgings before daylight.
I'm doing my best. I can't. What is he?
Hessians. 2 squads of them. They're surrounding the house on the corner.
Where?
Keep back, man. Well, they've been living.
I knew it. Now that we're...
Turn around and start walking. Slowly. Slowly, I said.
What are you going to do now?
Get back to the tavern. If we're lucky. They found me out sooner than I expected. All the money I can spare. Will it buy us a boat?
I'll do my best. The lobsterbacks keep sharp watch over everything that's looked.
Well, I just want the boat, not a boatman. Have it left under the docks as close by as possible.
You're going to try and get across to Brooklyn?
Only way now.
That's such good. Pity they found out so soon.
Luck. We'll hope it changes for the better.
Yeah. If there's a fog tonight, you might make it.
Then pray for a fog.
Follow the street to its end. Stiggs knows the way. The boat is under the long wharf. There'll be a sentry thereabouts, so be on your guard.
No time to thank you. Don't even know your name.
No need for names. Causes are more important. Good luck.
Well, thank you. Come on, Biggs. One peep out of you and we're done. When he reaches the far end of his post, run to the corner of the wharf and slide down that piling.
Into the water?
Of course, into the water. Hold on to the piling, and I'll join you as soon as he's reached the other end of his walk. Get ready.
Go.
This water's cold. We'll freeze.
Take your breath. See the boat?
There ain't any boat. We've been tricked.
Keep your voice down, you fool.
You stay here. I'll swing it under the wharf and see what I can find. Yeah, we'll have to paddle across. Oarlocks would make too much noise.
This sleepy tub isn't fit for driftwood.
Well, it's a boat of sorts. It floats, and with luck, it'll take us where we want to go. Come on now, sit up forward. Keep your eyes and your ears peeled.
How are you going to get out from under this dock without the lobster back seeing us?
It's not a cat. As long as he stays off the wharf, he won't see us. I'll paddle till we're clear. Now sit tight, man. Easy all, Diggs. We should be getting close.
Yeah, I can't see a foot in this fog. Still.
Have you ever heard ship's bells before?
She's right on top of it.
Now ship your oar. I'll paddle the rest of the way.
We've got to find a place to hide. I'm getting right. I'm fair done in.
Once we get through their lines, we can find cover.
We've had the luck of the devil already. We'll be seen sure in this light.
No, not if we stick to the valley. The fog will protect us.
I tell you,
we still. Listen.
Pretty dragoons, a whole Persian troop of them. Run, hold on, come on.
Run and they will see us. Down by those bushes and lie still.
But they'll see us. They're going to see us.
Now you'll lie still. Looks like we're lying tonight. I think we've passed through their lines, but we'd better go cautiously yet a ways.
Suppose you think I should be beholden to you getting me out of that mess and all? Well, I ain't. Hitting me like that, not so much as a buy your leave.
If I hadn't hit you, sir, you might have received a more permanent injury at the end of a rope.
Well, there was no reason for any of it.
Now, what's all this?
Hey!
Stand easy or I'll let daylight through you.
Who the devil are you and what are you doing here? Get that musket out of my face.
So, will you listen to Mr. Ironbody? Get your hands into the air and turn around.
Please, we ain't done nothing. We ain't done nothing.
A stroll in the moonlight, that's all, eh? Well, we'll just take a stroll back to...
Right! Run! Corporal of the guard! Corporal of the guard!
How do you know this be your right house?
Just don't ask so many questions and forget you've ever seen this place.
Who knocks?
2 friends from the city. Cowper Jr. sends his regards.
Come in, quickly. Well, you look like you've had a time of it.
You're Abraham Woodhull?
That's your service.
I'm David Gray. This is Diggs.
And they've turned the whole countryside upside down looking for you.
Oh, yes, we know. Have they come here?
Not as yet. They're making a very thorough search every house. They may come here tomorrow.
How soon can we be taken across the Sound?
Tomorrow night, weather permitting.
You have a place for us to hide in the meantime?
I have a place. And we'll hope if the British foxes stop by, they won't nose you out.
Sounds like they're taking the house apart, pick by.
No, they'll find us sure.
Well, stop your sniveling till they do.
What's down there behind that trapdoor? What's down there?
Oh, that's where I hide rebel agents. Have a look.
I will indeed. Sergeant, give me that torch.
What are those? Potatoes in the bag, cider in the barrels. Would you care for a dram, Captain?
Huh? Thank you, no. What's behind those barrels?
Ooh, just the wall.
Barrel's a good place for a man to hide. Let's have the tops off.
Take the tops off them. But, sir, that'll ruin the cider. If you think I've got somebody hidden in them, turn the spigot on each one, you'll see.
All right.
I think you should know, sir, that I'm a loyal subject of the king.
Well, if he had turned on the spigot, I think I'd have run right out of it.
Oh, amen to that.
The day Tyron's men searched Pawtucket and the surrounding area for two men thought to be spies against the crown, Judge Strong's wife hung a black petticoat and 3 white handkerchiefs on her clothesline. With the aid of a telescope, Abraham Woodhull, alias Culper Sr., studied Mrs. Strong's laundry and read in it an important message. Caleb Brewster coming tonight. Will put in at Hand's Cove.
Mr. Woodhull, we owe you our lives.
Nonsense, man. We're all in this together. My regards to Major Talmadge.
Stiggs, give Mr. Brewster a hand. Well, goodbye, Mr. Woodhull.
Goodbye, David. Dawn should find you safely in Connecticut.
Through David Gray's coolness and daring, the weak link in the chain was successfully removed. And until the cessation of hostilities, the chain continued to function, playing a little-known, totally unsung but vital part in the progress of our war for independence.
Here's a most important message for young women listening to this radio program. If you're between the ages of 18 and 34 and qualify, you can prove that this is a woman's world, too. How? By enlisting in the West, women in the Air Force. By joining right now when you're needed most and when the opportunities for advancement are greatest, you'll be serving your country well and yourself, too. So do your part in keeping America strong. Visit your local United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station and enlist in the West. Women in the Air Force. Do it now.
This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station by the United States Army and the United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking and inviting you to tune in this same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Episode from the life of Sherlock Holmes will be transmitted to our men and women overseas by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Petrie family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invites you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. Well, this is it, New Year's Eve. And I wish you could be here with us this evening so we could toast each other with a glass of Petrie California port. As you know, port wine has long been a favorite wine for celebrating a happy occasion. That's because port is a wine rich in tradition. And you couldn't ask for a more delicious port than Petrie port. Petrie port is a deep, glowing red color, beautiful to look at and wonderful to taste, with a hearty, full flavor that's right from the heart of the grape. And when you serve Petrie port to your friends tonight or any time, remember you can serve it proudly because the name Petrie is the proudest name in the history of American wine. And now I'm sure Dr. Watson's waiting for us, so let's drop in and see. Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, Mr. Bartell. Drop your usual chair.
Thank you.
That's it. Well, did you enjoy the Christmas holidays?
Well, I've had a whale of a time, thank you, but I don't think I can face a turkey or a mince pie for at least another year. How about you, Doctor?
Oh, I had a very pleasant week, too, my boy. Parties, visitors, and a flattering number of Christmas messages to be answered.
Oh, say, you got a new pipe. Is that a Christmas present?
Yes, new pipe, new tobacco pouch, and a pound of my favorite tobacco. All of them sent to me from London by an old client and a friend of mine, Sir Ian Dunbar.
An old client, huh? Well, do you mean he was one of your patients, or was he someone that you and the great Sherlock Holmes helped?
The latter, Mr. Bartell. As a matter of fact, it was receiving this gift that reminded me of the story I've decided to tell you tonight. The story in which Sir Ian Dunbar played a prominent part.
And how did it begin?
The day before New Year's Eve in 1899. Sherlock Holmes and I sat in opposite corners of a first-class railway carriage. We sped towards Edinburgh in the Flying Scotsman.
What took you and Sherlock Holmes up there, Doctor?
It started off as a holiday visit, Mr. Bartell. My old friend Sir Walter Dunbar had asked Holmes and me to spend a few days with him at Dunbar Castle, about 20 miles outside Edinburgh. After we left King's Cross Station, Holmes, his sharp, eager face framed in his deer-stocking cap, dipped into the bundle of fresh papers which he brought with him. We left Bedford far behind us before he thrust the last one of them under the seat, leaned across, and offered me his cigar.
Care for a cigar, Watson?
No, thanks, awful. I'll stick to the pipe.
Flying Scotsman's living up to its name. They're going splendidly. Our present rate is 53.5 miles an hour.
Oh, I hadn't noticed the quarter-mile post.
Nor have I, but the telegraph posts on this line are 60 yards apart. With the aid of a watch, the calculation is a simple one. Watson, my dear fellow, we have several hours ahead of us. Tell me more about Sir Walter Dunbar. I have a feeling that he's in some kind of trouble, but you haven't wanted to talk about it.
Well, it's not exactly trouble, Holmes, but there's a strange problem that confronts the Dunbars. A problem that'll be settled at midnight tomorrow.
Oh, indeed. Night of New Year's Eve, eh?
Yes, exactly, but to really appreciate the story, I have to begin by telling you of the death of old Sir Thomas Dunbar.
The father of the present baronet, I suppose.
Yes, he was severely wounded at Waterloo, though he managed to last out long enough to get back to Dunbar Castle. The story goes that as he lay there on his deathbed, he told his wife of his plans.
Dinner grave, lass. I've fetched the baronet's here home from Waterloo. What if I fetch the bottle wound as well? Oh, hush, lass. I'm not afraid to die. All that niggles me is that I shall never see the child you bear. They say Wattle Scott not coming yet. Can he visit the deathbed of his old friend? Who's there? Is that you, Sandy Murdoch?
Hi, Thomas. It's me.
I'm leaving an unborn son behind me when I die. Now, I don't trust women or children or banks for that matter. Put the best part of my wealth and gold in the big iron box you'll find under the bed. The money's there. And something else for a rainy day. You have to keep that box in trust for me, Sandy. You can turn it over to my boy on the New Year's Eve before his 21st birthday. And he'll be a man and wise enough to know how to use it. You understand, Sandy?
Right, Thomas. But suppose your bairn's a girl.
A girl? I tell you, it'll be a boy. And we'll name him Walter after my good friend, Sir Walter Scott.
Very interesting story, Watson. And that child, of course, is the gentleman we are going to see now, Sir Walter Dunbar.
Exactly.
And the first baronet was a friend of Sir Walter Scott, while his son conversed with your acquaintance. Why, it's a family singularly rich in literary friendships.
That's not very funny, Holmes. To continue, I suppose you can guess what happened. Sir Thomas carefully drew up the document to specify. The New Year's Eve before the baronet's 21st birthday. And the poor child was born on February 29th. It was a leap year.
So poor Sir Walter is waiting for his iron box full of gold.
Yes, he'll be 84 next year, and yet legally, with only one birthday every 4 years in the eyes of the law, he's 21.
A most amusing situation, though I'm afraid Sir Walter finds it far from entertaining. The lawyers must have been extremely scrupulous in abiding by the letter of the document.
Yes, old Sandy Murdoch is dead now, of course. But he, too, is a great-grandson, William Murdoch, who still handles the Dunbar estate. He'll be at the castle tonight to formally hand over the iron box.
I'm delighted you accepted the holiday invitation, Sir Walter. My dear fellow, I've needed a rest, but I've always loathed too strict a one. This situation may pose a nice little problem for me.
Problem?
Yes, I'm reasonably certain the aged Sir Walter Dunbar will not get his iron box full of gold on this New Year's Eve either. But we will see, old fellow. We shall see.
Dr. Watson, I'm glad to see you and Mr. Holmes here at the castle.
Thank you, my boy. Holmes, this is Ian Dunbar, Sir Walter's grandson.
How do you do, Mr. Dunbar?
I'm very proud to meet you, Mr. Holmes. I've heard a lot about you. Our grandfather will be down in a few moments. Let's go into the library, shall we?
Well, I imagine Sir Walter's quite excited about tonight's ceremony, isn't he?
Wouldn't you be? If you'd waited 63 years too long for an inheritance. Thank the Lord I had the foresight to be born on the prosaic date of August the 21st.
Even if your grandfather's death, you would be the next baronet, I take it.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. You see, my father was killed 2 months ago at Mafeking.
Yes, I read about it in the papers, my boy. I'm very sorry.
Thank you, Doctor. The opening of the box isn't going to be the only ceremony at midnight. Dorothy and I are announcing our engagement.
Dorothy?
Dorothy Small. She and her father are staying here, too.
My congratulations.
Yes, indeed, Ian. Indeed, mine, too.
Thank you. It's been quite battle with her father, though. He's a businessman and isn't impressed with titles when they aren't accompanied by a suitable income. But when we told him about the inheritance, he relented and gave his consent. Here's Dorothy now. Dorothy, darling, I want you to meet 2 friends of mine, Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
Now, how do you do, Miss Small?
How are you, my dear? From what this young man's been telling us, I gather that congratulations are in order.
Thank you. I finally persuaded Father that Ian would make a worthy son-in-law. For a while, I was afraid we'd have to elope to Gretna Green, live in a cottage on bread and cheese and law, but brave the parental wrath, just as they do in the storybooks.
Oh, Sir Walter, there you are.
Watson, my dear boy. How are you? And this must be your friend Sherlock Holmes.
How do you do, Sir Walter?
Very well for a young nipper who'll be 21 at midnight. Gentlemen, may I introduce Mr. Herbert Small?
How do you do, sir? I believe that we have to congratulate you on the engagement of your daughter.
That was supposed to remain a secret until midnight. The Dunbar box was finally opened. Didn't be grouchy, Herbert. The children are in love, and I'm going to settle money on Ian. And it's New Year's Eve. Let's enter into the spirit of the occasion. Bring out the glasses, Ian. I've had some bottles of my special pride put out. It's the finest port in Scotland. The cream of Dunbar. My father laid the first bottle down the year before I was born. And a drink of the brew will surely warm the cockers of your hat.
Well, my mouth's watering already, Sir Walter.
When is this lawyer fellow, young Murdoch, getting here? Oh, any moment, Herbert. As soon as he arrives, we'll have dinner, then we'll be ready for the evening ceremony.
He's bringing the famous iron box with him, Sir Walter?
If he doesn't, they won't get any dinner, Holmes. Ian, pass the glasses around, my boy. Here you are, Murdoch. Good evening, Sir Walter. Oh, you've got the box with you, I see. Now the party's complete. Let me introduce you. Miss Small, her father, Mr. Small, my grandson Ian, you know. Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, sir?
I'm sorry I'm late, Sir Walter. My train was delayed.
Oh, that's all right, Murdoch. You're here, and you brought the box. That's all that matters. Here, Give our young lawyer a drink. Here, I'll help you pour it.
I must say that this is rather exciting. Holmes, the famous iron box with its inheritance of gold.
Yes, and from the size of the box, at a rough guess, I should estimate its cubic content in gold at around 5,000 pounds. Not a vast sum, perhaps, to a businessman like Mr. Small, but a windfall to an impecunious Scotch baronet.
Yes, that's what it is.
A strong young man, Mr. Murdoch.
How do you mean strong, Holmes?
A box that size, full of golden sovereigns, would weigh a considerable amount. And yet the lawyer carried it single-handed.
Now that we're all assembled, I'm going to propose a toast. Though it's still some hours off yet, let's drink to the new year. It means a lot to some of us. To 1900.
1900. We should toast more than just 1900, Sir Walter. We should drink to the new century that's about to begin.
Good idea, Dorothy.
Oh, I'm afraid that wouldn't be quite appropriate, Miss Small. To be accurate, the 20th century won't begin until January the 1st, 1901, and not 1900.
Of course. That's it. Dorothy, I'm afraid your wedding can't take place for some time yet.
Father, what are you talking about?
I read an article in The Guardian the other day that said just the same thing as you, Dr. Watson. And what's more, it said something even more important. It said that 1900 is not a leap year. Oh, rubbish. Leap year comes every 4 years. There was one in 1896, then obviously 1900 is one.
I think Mr. Small may be right. What do you say, Mr. Holmes? Do you know? Well, I hope no one would bring up this point, but it's the little problem I referred to on the train, my dear Watson.
Yes, I remember.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, answer. Is 1900 a leap year or no?
I'm afraid it's not, Sir Walter.
No?
Because of a slight imbalance that would otherwise be produced in the calendar. Of the even century years, only those divisible by 400 are leap years. In other words, 1600 was a leap year, the year 2000 will be a leap year, but 1800 and 1900 are not leap years.
Then you have no birthday next year, Sir Walter, and I'm afraid I can't open the box tonight.
And the Dunbars won't get their inheritance.
And you, my dear, don't marry for a few more years. I won't allow you to marry a pauper.
Mr. Holmes, are you sure of your facts? I'm very much afraid that I am, young man.
Oh, this is terrible. I cannot stand any more.
No, don't take it too badly, Sir Walter. Here, drink this. That's it. After all, you only have to wait another 4 years.
Another 4 years? At my age, young man, at my age. Oh, no. I shall never live that long. Aye, what is it, Angus?
Dinner is prepared, Sir Walter. You can serve it as soon as you're ready, sir.
What a miserable meal, Holmes. The Walter's gone to his room. The young lovers are nearly in tears. Small and the lawyer Murdoch seem to be positively gloating.
Yes, a most exciting atmosphere in which to welcome the new year. But let us, at least, make the best of it. I think I'll go and have a talk with Sir Walter. And you, my dear chap, why not try and cheer up the young folks? Some of your experiences in India may make their minds off the trouble.
Yes, quite an idea. I'll join you in the library. Call me if you want me, Holmes. Ah, there you are, my dears.
Hello, Dr. Watson.
All alone in front of the fire, eh?
I'm afraid we're not in very good spirits.
Oh, nevertheless, I'll sit down here and join you, if you don't mind. Misery loves company, you know.
So very kind, Doctor. I was just trying to persuade Ian to elope with me. But he's being most ungallant. He won't even consider it.
How can I, darling? I've got under 200 pounds a year in my own right. How could we live on that? I was counting on money the grandfather was going to give us to get me started.
Now, Miss Small, a little earlier you talked of Rector Green and bread and cheese and love in a cottage. Yes, there's a lot to be said for it, you know.
Well, to be said for it, yes, Doctor. But have you ever tried it?
Not literally, my boy, but let me tell you that when Mary, my wife, and I were first married, I had very little money. In fact, my income was just about the sum that you mentioned. And we were very happy.
Ah, but you have a profession, Doctor. Look at me. I've been trained for nothing except to be Laird of Dunbar Castle. I can't support a wife on tradition.
But you're young, Ian. You can get some kind of position, I'm sure you can.
Yes, of course. As a matter of fact, I think that... Holmes, what is it? What's wrong?
The devil's work afoot, Watson. Come with me, old fellow. And you, Mr. Dunbar.
Mr. Holmes, what's happened?
Sir Walter. I went to his room. It was in darkness, but in the moonlight I saw two figures struggling by the open casement. One of them was Sir Walter. As I entered, he disappeared from sight. His attacker had pushed him out of the window into the moat.
How dreadful.
The other man got away in the darkness. We must get lanterns and go out to the moat at once. Though I'm very much afraid, Mr. Dunbar, that your grandfather is beyond our help.
Dr. Watson will be back in just a second, so I'd just like to remind you that if you want to serve a wine over the holidays that you're sure the ladies will enjoy, serve Petri California Muscatel. Petri Muscatel is a golden wine with a wonderful flavor. The flavor of big, plump Muscat grapes. And you know what a flavor that is. I'm sure you'll find that Petri Muscatel is the favorite wine of all women, just as Petri Port is the favorite wine with men. And incidentally, if you're not sure which to get, Petri Muscatel or Petri Port, don't buy one, buy two. Get them both, and you'll be sure to please everyone. Now, to get back to our story, someone had pushed poor old Sir Walter out of his bedroom window and into the moat below. Isn't that right, Dr. Watson?
Yes, Mr. Bartell. Of course, we grabbed lanterns as fast as we could and rushed outside, but it was a hopeless task. The water was 8 or 10 feet deep, and it seemed obvious that the elderly Sir Walter wouldn't have a chance of saving himself. But we searched on, the thicker, bobbing lanterns and the scurrying figures in the frosty moonlight, forming a weird...
Margaret, bring a lantern over here. Aye, sir. Can you see anything, Holmes?
Nothing. I don't see why your friend doesn't call the police, Dr. Watson. He's accomplishing nothing.
We thought there might be a chance of finding the old man alive, Mr. Small. He wants to avoid a scandal, if possible, for your sake, sir, as well as the Dunbars.
No scandal can't touch me or Dorothy over this. Her engagement was never announced. Thank heaven.
That's a great pity, sir. I should think some new blood in your family would be a great improvement.
You're being confoundedly impertinent, Doctor.
And you'll be confoundedly heartless, sir. Well, Holmes, have you given up hope?
I'm afraid we'll never find him without dragnet and grappling hooks. Have to call the police. What time is it?
Sir Ian, you know the time? What did you call me, Mr. Holmes? Sir Ian.
By Julius. It does seem a bit pressure, Holmes, but of course you're right. If your poor grandfather's dead, Mr. Dunbar, you're the baronet now.
And the time, Sir Ian? It's 11:45, Mr. Holmes. A quarter of an hour to the new year. Sir Ian, doesn't that fact suggest something to you? Yes, it does. So I'm the new baronet, am I? Very well, then. There'll be no more talk of the police for 15 minutes. I want all of you to come back to the castle with me. As the last chime of midnight rings out, I shall have a statement to make. A statement that I want you all to hear.
What you brought us all back here for, Holmes? Something very funny going on. I tell you, I don't like the look of it.
And I, Watson, like the look of it very much.
I wish you wouldn't be so dashed mysterious. What are you up to? You haven't taken a step yet towards finding the murderer.
That's right. And I wonder what causes the deep perspiration on Mr. Small's brow.
Small? You mean that Small...
And I wonder what causes the singular look of apprehension on the face of Murdoch, the young lawyer. You remember, of course, on my remarking how easily he carried the large iron box.
Good Scott, yes. It took a strong man to throw Sir Walter out of the window.
What? Huh? The new year is approaching.
Ladies and gentlemen, in view of our recent tragedy, this is one New Year's Eve when none of us feels like song and jollity. But there still remains a ritual duty for me to perform. Mr. Murdoch, open the iron box, please.
But I can't do that. It was only to be opened for your grandfather.
No, Mr. Murdoch. The phrase was that it was to be opened on the New Year's Eve before the baronet's 21st birthday. I am now the baronet, and I shall be 21 next year on August 21st. Open the box, please, Mr. Murdoch.
Ian, darling, how frightfully clever of you.
You're glad. I hope you think of it.
Sir Ian.
Murdoch, open that box.
Very well, Sir Ian. But I'm afraid you're in for something of a shock.
Great Scott, the box is empty.
Except for a sheet of notepaper in the bottom. What's the meaning of this, Murdoch?
Read that paper, Sir Ian, and you'll understand.
I owe you 4,000 sovereigns. And it's signed Alexander Murdoch, on behalf of Murdoch & Murdoch, lawyers. You'd better explain this.
It's the family skeleton, Sir Ian. That note is signed by my great-grandfather, the one that witnessed the original deed concerning the box. As soon as Sir Walter was born on that February the 29th, my great-grandfather realized the money wouldn't have to be produced for 84 years.
And so he stole it.
He borrowed it. He always intended to pay it back, but he was never able to. When he died, he told my father of his secret, and my father in turn told me. We've always planned to put back the money, Sir Ian, but we've never been able to. This is daylight robbery. You could prosecute them, Ian. The firm's still in business. You can ruin them. You can sue them for every penny they have.
Mr. Small, you've already shown a marked aversion to my family. I suggest you allow me to handle their affairs.
Bravo, Ian.
How dare you, Dorothy? Go to your room.
No one's going to their room. No one's leaving here until the police arrive. I'm convinced that one of you murdered my grandfather tonight.
And if you ask me, it's obvious who that someone is.
Who, Dr. Watson?
You, Mr. Murdoch. You came here planning to kill poor old Sir Walter because you never intended to open that box. You thought that your secret would die with him.
That's a lie. I was going to tell him everything and then ask for time to pay the money. I didn't kill him. Of course he didn't. There's your murderer. You yourself, Ian.
Father, what are you saying?
I'm saying that Ian's the murderer. He saw that the box wasn't going to be open for another 4 years. He realized out the money couldn't marry Dorothy, so he killed his grandfather and then ordered the box open.
You're trying to cover yourself. You pushed grandfather out of that window tonight. You thought that if he died, the box would never be opened. Dorothy couldn't marry me.
You can't.
Gentlemen, please.
Upon my soul, Holmes, you seem remarkably calm.
Go on, dear Watson. I must say I'm absolutely fascinated by listening to three people accusing each other of murder, and each of them producing perfectly sound motives. It's a remarkable example of the dangers of reasoning from motive alone. We should profit by experience, Watson.
Mr. Holmes, how can you be so calm? There's a murderer in this
I
room.
suppose this game of charades is getting a little out of hand, Miss Small. Let's conclude it. You'd better come out now.
That street, it's moving.
A happy New Year to you all.
Grandfather.
Sir Walter, oh, am I seeing a ghost?
Oh, Sir Walter, you're all right.
Well, what kind of a game have you been playing? It's a funny game that Holmes and I invented. You might call it forcing the issue. I was determined to have the box open before the next 4 years were out, whilst I was still alive to look inside it. But the trickery of your family, Murdoch, has made me a very unhappy man.
Sir Walter, I shall pay back the money in a few years. I swear I will.
It'll be too late to do me any good, but I'll take care that Ian gets it. I've half a mind to prosecute you.
Grandfather, the money isn't important now that you're all right.
You were counting on it just the same, my boy, so that you could marry Dorothy. I know that. She'll never marry a pauper. I won't allow it.
When I'm 21, you can't stop me, Father, and I am going to marry Ian.
Be quiet. Sir Walter, it's a very unsavory business. I think that you owe us an explanation of your behavior tonight. You tell him, Holmes. I fancy a wee drop of cream of Dunbar. Watching you all search from a body in the moat has made me thirsty.
The explanation is a very simple one, ladies and gentlemen. When you arrived here tonight, Mr. Murdoch, I knew from the way you handled the box that it could not contain the sum of gold it was supposed to.
And so you suspected fraud and devised a plan to force the opening of the box.
Yes, and Sir Walter was an eager conspirator.
Of course I was. Ian is 21 next August. Supposing I had died after he came of age, and before my next birthday, 4 years hence, the box would never have been opened.
And so we invented the fake murder story. By the way, Ian, I must congratulate you for grasping the possibilities of the situation so speedily. If you hadn't demanded the opening of the box, the Murdoch secret might still be a secret.
It's a clever plan, Holmes. It's too bad that it had to have such a miserable ending.
I'm not sure that we have finished with the matter. Mr. Murdoch.
Yes, Mr. Holmes?
You say that your family took £4,000 from that box?
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Curious. I would have sworn from its size that it would hold closer to 5,000. And in your account of the legend, Watson, you told me that Sir Thomas Dunbar stated on his deathbed that he had put something else in the box.
Yes,
something for a rainy day, is that it? Mm-hmm. Did the Murdochs find that extra something?
No, Mr. Holmes. They found nothing but the gold.
Oh, that's very odd. I think I'll take a closer look at that box if you don't mind.
Since this seems to be a night of telling secrets, I think you might as well know, Father, that if you don't give your consent, I shall elope with him.
Oh, bravo, my dear, bravo.
No such thing.
I admire your resolution, young lady, but I hardly think it will be necessary.
What do you mean, Holmes?
Permit me to show you all the treasure of the Dunbars.
What have you found, Holmes?
Something for a rainy day that old Sir Thomas got. You see, since the cubic contents of the box obviously differed from my calculations, I deduced the existence of a false bottom. I was correct. And in that space, I found this.
Oh, it's manuscript.
Quite so, the manuscript of the book. Look at the title page and see the author's name.
History of the Dunbar family. I saw Scott.
Oh, I was Scott.
I think, Sir Walter, that an original and unpublished manuscript by your distinguished namesake will prove worth several times the gold that is missing from that box.
You've saved the day for us, Holmes, my boy. God bless you. Oh, this has been a stranger New Year than ever I knew. But it turned out to be a bonny one, thanks to you, Holmes. Well, fill up your glasses. We're going to drink a toast to the New Year.
By Joe, yes, Sir Walter. This is really a happy occasion.
Then let's complete it by singing the traditional song of the season, Old Lang Syne. And in this case, when we sing Should Old Acquaintance Be Forgot, I feel that in our hearts we should be thinking of Walter Scott. Though he died over 60 years ago, he's made us all very happy here tonight.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never
Doctor. That turned out to be a very happy New Year for all concerned.
Yes, that's one New Year that I'll never forget.
Well, I sure hope you'll always remember this one, too.
Oh, just a second, my boy. That calls for a glass of port.
Fine.
Well, to a happy New Year, my boy, for you and for our many friends listening in.
And to you, Doctor.
Oh, thanks, boy.
That's good. Doctor, this has indeed been a pleasant association for me.
Oh, I'm glad to hear.
You're the best storyteller I've ever known, and the Petrie family makes the best wine I've ever tasted. Hope that just as they've been making wine for generations in the past, the Petrie family will continue to make fine wine in the future.
Mr. Bartell, I know that you'll always be here to tell us just how good that Petrie wine is.
Well, I hope so, Doctor. And I hope you'll always be right here beside me to tell another swell story about Mr. Holmes.
I hope so, too, my boy.
Oh, and incidentally, Doctor, what new adventure are you planning to tell next week?
Next week, Mr. Bartell, I'm going to tell you a weird story. It starts with a series of murders on Hampstead Heath and ends with a battle to the death in a burning waxworks. I call it The Strange Case of the Murderer in Wax.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, The Silver Blaze. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petrie Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studio. This is Harry Bartell saying good night for the Petrie family. For a solid hour of exciting mystery dramas, listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Michael Shayne, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
I would like to thank Phyllis White for taking the time to tell us about her husband, Anthony Boucher, and also about Dennis Green, and those wonderful times, not so long ago, when Holmes and Watson were played by Rathbone and Bruce. The two episodes you have just heard are part of the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, and are a 1988 copyrighted production of 221A Baker Street Associates. The Sherlock Holmes stories and the characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John H. Watson created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and are used with the kind permission of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. This is Ben Wright. Won't you join me again sometime soon for two more new adventures of Sherlock Holmes? Thank you for listening.